Gamers' massive boycott against feminism has won. I do not say this lightly. Gamers' massive boycott against feminism has won. So, guys, the Concord game that came out recently, this is just after many games of feminist woke games have been failing. Yeah, so Concord came out recently. They lost $200 million. Sony lost $200 million developing this woke game. They're in turmoil. They've decided to shut down the game after 2 weeks, and the developers are now crying, actually crying on social media hard, all right, after this failure. So watch this video to fully understand the implications of what's happening here, why gamers have literally won after they boycotted the hell out of woke and feminist propaganda in games, and how this is going to affect the gaming industry going forward. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into this video, which is brought to us by Asmongold. His channel will be linked in the description, so you go check him out and support him. Now let's just go ahead and jump right in.
30 minutes ago, Concord announced that the servers are now officially all offline. However, things don't quite end there just yet. That takes us to this post over on Reddit titled, "Allegedly, senior concept artists for Concord are going through an extremely difficult time, and some might no longer want to work in games or design characters after this."
I used to pray for times like this. Man. Wow.
So we're going to take a look at a number of tweets that allegedly come from Amanda Kiefer. Before we do, let me give you all the context here. Amanda Kiefer is a senior concept artist over at Firewalk Studios, which is, of course, the studio behind Concord. Now, it looks like she's in protected mode. However, it seems like one of her confirmed followers actually leaked the messages and posted them over on Reset Era.
No AI, no NFTs. Uh-oh.
And she was seemingly responding to this person who said, "Kinda want to try to redesign one of the Concord characters. Not to fix art or any pretentious BS. Just as an
Oh, you know, bro, this is gonna make her so mad. Oh, yeah.
experience to see if I can find where it went wrong in the designs.
Where
also,
it
it
went
sounds like
wrong.
a fun thing to draw. I love GOTG looking stuff. I'm just assuming that stands for Guardians of the Galaxy, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I
think they
that's
look
it.
great as
I didn't guess
background
either.
characters in the movie or something. They're just missing the hero part. Yeah, you know, the part that's pretty important for a hero shooter.
Yeah,
Look like
imagine that.
background characters. It's pretty funny. All right, with that context, let's take a look at this set of messages allegedly
see
from
this.
Amanda Kiefer
Yeah.
responding to that artist whose tweet we just read. "I was going to DM you after seeing this, but this site makes me pay to do that. So at the risk of getting dogpiled, I'm just going to..."
Wait, you can't send DMs on Twitter unless you have Twitter Blue? Is that true? Yeah, I only if he activates it? I didn't even know that. The fuck? It's a filter type thing?
say this here. A lot affected the art side of Concord, including design by committee, failure of some leadership to listen to the art team, etc. The character concept art team, including myself, is going through an extremely difficult time emotionally. And some of the team no longer want to work in games, design characters, or even do art anymore after this. Because of this, posts like yours, though understandable, are unfortunately ill-timed. None of us know which way the wind will blow with the studio. We are worried sick and terrified of the future. Not only that, but we have been shouldering the brunt of the emotional labor as executives/directors dodge most of the blame. Behind the scenes
Well, to be fair, I mean, they weren't the ones that wrote the characters, right? I mean, it was you that did it. You made the, like, it was the executive standing behind you and telling you to make this character. Maybe they were, right? And I mean, I think that she's right about that kind of to an extent. But, like, I don't like this narrative that the only people who are at fault are, like, the executives, because I think that fault probably goes all the way down the line. I bet there's people that are actual artists that are incompetent and bad at their job. I think there's executives that are bad and incompetent.
So basically, guys, now you have the artists, the developers blaming the executives for this game. So the people who actually designed the game, drew the characters, managed, they were in complete, they were the ones that created this woke pile, steaming pile of crap, are now blaming the executives that gave them $200 million to make this game. $200 million. All right. Well, about 130 million. Gave them 130 million. They're going to lose 200. The company's going to lose. Sony's going to lose 200 million on it. Gave these people 130 million dollars and almost 10 years to make this game, and now they're blaming the men That's what they always do. They are blaming the men who gave them a free reign to do whatever they wanted. They're like, here's a boatload of cash. Here's over $100 million. You can make the game that you want to make. We're going to give you a decade to make it. We're going to give you all the money in the world, all the support in the world, and you can show the world that this is the game that they should be playing. And you can make the kinds of characters that you want, feminist models. They can be body positive, so it doesn't matter if it's realistic or not. If a person who is, several hundred pounds are able to run around an entire unit like that, or or the person or the character is not very attractive, or and not very appealing, none of these things matter, because we're going to show the world that this is what they have to play. If they want to enjoy games, this is where it's going. Okay, so, and here's the thing, guys, the mechanics of the game are not bad. This is basically an Overwatch game with feminist skins on it. This game is actually better. People have said that this game is actually better than Suicide Squad, and that game sold quite a lot more copies than this, and it still underperformed. It was like WB's worst performing game, I think. And they're like basically talking about potentially like shuttering the studio, or like they're in really bad shape after the Suicide Squad game. Get rid of the Justice League, off the Justice League. But the thing is, the thing is that with this game, Concord, they only sold 25,000 copies of this game. So that means that there's potentially millions of physical copies that are now going to have to be like just burnt, or let's be realistic, they're going to be dumped in a landfill ET style. And I know some of you guys are like those ET games. For those of you that don't know, back in like the late 1980s, it's not a myth. It actually happened. A bunch of ET games were made. The games were crap. They were absolutely garbage. So they took all of the games, like hundreds of thousands or millions of these games, and they went to like New Mexico or one of these places, and they basically dug a giant hole and dumped all of these games in there, and then covered it with like cement, I think. And then many years later, Mythbusters went like in the 2000s. I don't know if it was in the late 90s or in 2000s. They went to the landfill to find. They went to the place where it was allegedly done, and they dug them up, and they actually did find copies of ET, and they were there. Yeah, so it was absolutely true. And this is like serious. Like, I hope the government fines them for this, because this is going to be like hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of copies of this game that are going to have to be recalled, taken off the shelves. I mean, they might just try to like dump them all in the trash, but that's a whole other problem. That's waste. That's so many games realistically. And then you have to understand, like, they probably didn't even ship all of the games. Like, they have games at the warehouses. So they probably have like a couple 100,000 games at the warehouses. So this is, guys, this is really awesome. This is truly wonderful. It's like Christmas right now. So, and now you have the developers crying their eyes out because they're getting basically labasted, and everyone, and their names are in the games. And that's another thing. The internet is forever. So I guarantee you, like, the people who made the game, like, they were so proud. My name is Sarah this, and my name is Jessica this. Well, guess what, Jess? Your name is now going to be immortalized as one of the people who made the worst game of all time. All right. And maybe it's not the worst game of all time. The mechanics were actually not bad, but it is going to be the greatest loss ever, evidently, for any game ever made. Okay. You guys were the lead designers. You're the senior graphics designer on the project, art designer, and you designed these characters. And the game's mechanics aren't even bad. It's basically Overwatch meets feminist propaganda. And you made this game. You cost Sony millions, so much money, that now they're basically rethinking live service games entirely, where they may now ditch every effort to create live service games. They probably won't even try to redo Concord and use the system they were developing for like 10 years. Evidently, people are saying that Sony will probably try to like do a tax write-off. They may not even be able to write the whole thing off. It's going to be such a massive loss for them, guys. Like, this is going to kill their bottom line. They cannot afford this loss. And I'll give you another reason why. Basically, they purchased Bungie for $3 million, and Bungie is basically shutting down. Like the president took like a ton of money. Microsoft should never have given them their freedom. Microsoft should, anyone who wanted to leave Bungie, and when Microsoft bought them, because like, oh, we're gonna give Bungie their freedom. They don't want to work on Halo anymore, and then they went and did Destiny, and it's just not that great. And now they're basically not making any more. They're like, okay, so Destiny 3 isn't coming anymore, but we're gonna create another game called Marathon, and yeah, that's not looking like it's very probable, or it'll even be very good if it even does happen. And like most of like a bunch of Bungie employees who just got fired. Evidently, I mean, like the whole, like pretty much the studio is shuttered at this point, and Sony's like, I think moving the employees internal, those of them that they're going to keep. It's insane, and they bought this company for $3 billion. So they lost $3 billion on Bungie. They're not making that money. All right, I don't think they're making a lot. They're not making that kind of money off Destiny. So $3 billion down the drain. And now now 200 million gone on just a single game. And you know what's even more cool, guys? You know what's even more wonderful about all of this? We don't know what other games Sony has in the pipeline, what other woke BS games they've been working on. Because this stuff, guys, they started this 10 years ago, 6 to 8 years ago. Evidently, this game was in development for 6 to 8 years, and they pumped around $130 million into this woke pile of steaming crap. All right? And so you don't know what other games Sony was working on that had all of this woke garbage in it. And gamers are revolting. Look at Black Myth Wukong. They've already made, like, as of like recent counting, they've made like $850 million off the game in like 2 weeks. Like 2-3 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks. 2 weeks since the game came out, and Black Myth Wukong's already made $850 million. And the feminists on IGN were like, it's a pilot, it's a misogyny, and it's this, and it's all kinds of, and they tried to slander it. $850 million. It's one of the top selling games in China. It's one of the top selling games around the world. It's gonna get DLC Elden Ring style. Basically, look at Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade sold absolutely incredibly well. They slandered the developer. They essentially called him an incel. They had to apologize, and then IGN had to apologize. But instead of properly apologizing, they tried to blame their France office, IGN office, saying that they're an independent office, so it's not really our fault. By the way, Joker just came out. It's coming out very soon, Joker 2. And, people were saying it didn't need a sequel, but here's what's interesting. IGN evidently gave Joker 2 a 5. They said that there's a portion of the movie about, where they go to court, and the court portion went on for too long, and Harley Quinn never got her chance to shine in the film enough. Evidently, unfortunately, the movie revolved too much around the previous person who was the star of the previous movie. So the film is called Joker. It's not called Harley Quinn. It's called Joker. And they gave it a 5 because the Joker was involved in the film too much, and the film centered around the Joker too much. So they thought that this movie was going to be complete feminist propaganda centered around Lady Gaga, and Lady Gaga evidently did not have enough time to shine. Keep in mind, these are the same people who also gave One Piece a 6. All right, One Piece live action a 6. But then, like, I think they gave, I don't remember what they gave Cowboy Bebop, but they gave a lot of other stuff, like high scores. I think they gave Deadpool a 7, and Deadpool has already made like over $1 billion. Deadpool and Wolverine has already made over $1 billion. Check the guys. They gave it a lower score than so many other films, and then it's an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. It has a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. And it's now made, according to the box office totals, it's now made $1.287 billion at the box office. It just needs to clear another $13 million to hit 1.3 billion. And I personally was hoping that this film would do 1.5 billion. Doesn't look like it's going to happen at this point. But the fact is, like, the fact that it already hit 1.2 billion, it's so close to 1.3 billion, we can almost round off. And the budget for the film was $200 million. So they've already made back their budget. This movie they've made so much money off it. They've done a great job with the marketing. I mean, this is honestly crazy. To my understanding, I think the actual budget was 100 million, and then the marketing budget was like another 100 million. I don't think the actual total amount was 100. Well, I don't think the actual budget for the development of the film was 200 million. I believe I read at least that it was 100 million. I might be wrong. And then they had the marketing budget, which was like another 100 million. So a total budget of $200 million. I mean, yeah, guys, it's wonderful news. It's absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful news what's happened here. And you're seeing, like, guys, these buddy films women went out and saw this film in unison. And guys, this is an adult movie, by the way. This is an adult movie. So I want you to think about this. The little shits weren't able to see it, and my guess, I might be wrong. Guys. But the little shits weren't able to see it, and what they did with one of the Deadpool movies, Deadpool 2, is they re-released a version of it that was PG-13. So it was suitable for the little shits to see. They might do that this time around, also release a PG-13 version of Deadpool after the rated R version leaves theaters. And that could also result in even more sales. Yeah. I'm very, very serious. I'm real serious. So here's where things get very, very interesting, guys. I went and I just checked, and this is crazy. So after Deadpool 2 came out, it did get another version. It got a PG-13 version. So here's the breakdown. Back in October 2019, when The Joker was crowned the highest grossing R-rated film of all time, it did so by surpassing 2016's Deadpool final of 783 million and Deadpool 2's 785 million global gross, which includes the 47 million from its PG-13 holiday cut. Okay? So this brings up another very interesting question. Okay? Because with Deadpool and Wolverine, PG-13, I'm wondering, will there be, and we can, I'm going to look it up for you. Will there be a Deadpool and Wolverine PG-13 version? And let's see here. So Deadpool 3 will retain its R rating, breaking the MCU's PG-13 trend. There is no mention of a PG-13 version of the movie so far. However, that does not mean that it won't happen. And if we actually look over on Screen Rant, it's pretty interesting. The Deadpool movies have solved how the MCU can cross over with the R-rated hero without ruining him. So that's pretty intriguing right there. And Deadpool's PG-13 release shows how the MCU can approach the hero. This is interesting. This is really interesting stuff. I think I'll put that on the screen. Let's put this up on the screen so you guys can have a look at this. We'll read the article together. So basically, like I said, they released a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2. Luckily, Marvel Studios already has the perfect solution for Deadpool's R-rated problem when introducing him into the wider world of the MCU. Following the release of Deadpool 2, Fox re-released the movie for a PG-13 audience, retitled Once Upon a Deadpool. Once Upon a Deadpool removed most of the violence and cursing that makes Deadpool's live-action stories so entertaining for more mature audiences, but allowed Fox to cater the murk with a mouth to a younger crowd. And Deadpool used his own censorship button to ensure the movie stuck to its strict PG-13 regulations. So basically, they just tapped. It's like they wouldn't let the kids hear the curse words, but they pretty much know what they are. While little of the actual movie was changed, the bar removal of several violent moments, Deadpool used a censorship button to bleep out curse words and inappropriate moments shared between himself and Fred Savage. Recreating scenes from The Princess Bride, having Deadpool read the story of Deadpool 2 to a now adult Fred Savage allowed Once Upon a Deadpool to be broken up into clear, entertaining segments. This allowed Deadpool to use his censorship button several times, and Marvel Studios could bring back the device in future MCU crossover projects featuring the Merc with a mouth. So you have to understand, they actually went in, they chopped it up, and they created value. They added value to the movie, making it entertaining and giving it even. This is crazy. So Deadpool can't always be R-rated in the MCU, but can still stay true to himself. Deadpool's solo movie projects, kicking off with 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine, will surely be R-rated. But if Deadpool appears in future crossovers, such as the Avengers Project in Phase 6, he needs to be edited to fit a PG-13 rating. It will be something of a shock to see Deadpool taking part in non-R-rated movies, but this will cement him as a clear part of the wider franchise. Guys, wouldn't it be crazy if Deadpool was the one to like reboot the entire MCU? Guys, they need to reboot the damn thing. It's over. They need to reboot that entire universe. Let's move on to a new universe. Let's leave Tom Holland behind. His Spider-Man was great. That's the end of it. We need to move on. It's time to move on. Okay, let another person get a chance at playing Tony Stark. Yes, we all love Tony. We all love Robert Downey Jr., but it's time to move on. Having Deadpool equipped with his censorship button will create the opportunity for some hilarious moments of interaction between the Merc with a Mouth and the MCU's pre-established PG-13 heroes. Deadpool will be able to stay true to himself while engaging with the family-friendly tones of the MCU. And this could also raise excitement for the hero solo movies. Ryan Reynolds' future solo movies in the MCU could also see him teaming up with other heroes, allowing unexpected characters to play in an R-rated world alongside Deadpool. That's really, really cool. Really, really cool. So it's very possible that they will release another version and when of this movie, and it may be a PG-13. So guys, I mean that's pretty much what's going on right now. People are tired of woke in their games. They're tired of feminism in their games, and now the developers of Concord, they're crying their eyes out, saying they don't even want to make games anymore, they think, because of what's happened, and they did it to themselves.
And I dislike this otherization of executive leadership, because it's like, you always are like, oh, well, it's the people that are in charge who are at fault. Well, it's their responsibility, you're right, but it might not necessarily be their fault.
Exactly. These developers chose to make this game. So as you guys can see here, you have the women who developed this game attacking the men who gave them all of this money, attacking Sony, attacking everyone for basically giving them free reign over the game to develop it however they wanted, and now blaming them for it failing, saying it's the fault of the men who gave them free reign to develop the game. And it's not fair that the men are not being held responsible, because it's mostly going to be men working as executives. So the men who gave them all of the money and gave them basically said, here, do whatever you want to do, are now going to should be punished for it. In other words, while women are powerful victims and men are pathetic villains. And when women basically screw up and things don't go right, it needs to be diverted to men, and men need to be blamed for it. So regardless of what men have done, even when men give women what they want, they give them unlimited amounts of resources. They basically say, here, take everything, take the bank. And women do things and they screw up. Yeah, they turn and they blame men and say now they're not sure if they even want to work anymore, or if they're victims. They're victims of the men. They're victims of the gaming industry. They're victims of the misogynist in the gaming industry who didn't want to buy the games. All right, because only 25,000 people bought it. But there was no hate campaign against Concord. There was no large campaign telling people not to buy the game. The gamers just silently boycotted the game. They basically said, we're not picking up this woke pile of crap. And that's it.
Can't really guess, to be honest. Well, I mean, in any situation that you've ever been in, like, you know that if you have a problem somewhere, the problem is usually a systematic problem. It's not like there's one person.
All this talk about Concord and character designs, people's livelihoods are at risk. And there are very real financial consequences that might hurt us even more. That's just what I can say from our point of view. I'm not saying change course or anything. Us artists like being able to use social media to promote our work and get more jobs, but I'm saying we see that.
That's something that I would do the opposite of with Concord. Like, if I worked on Concord, and I would be like, well, what did you do between those 8 years? Nothing. Nothing. I didn't do anything. Yeah, I was in jail. They're like, oh, okay, thank God. All right, I thought you were an artist for Concord.
It does absolutely affect us, since we just got our teeth kicked in. Okay, so if those messages are indeed true, then here's my thoughts. I do agree that the executives, the directors, the suits at the top should not be dodging most of the blame. Clearly, they all wanted this sort of like modern audience approach for Concord that ended up being a terrible decision. And that, of course, would reflect on the character design team that they hired. At the same time, for all I know, a lot of the character design team may have also wanted to take that approach and had no issue with it. There's really
and that's my perspective on it too. Is like the idea that it's all the executive's fault just sounds like bullshit to me.
Context that we don't know about. And it does seem fair to say that the character design team probably could have done a better job. Like, there wasn't a single design that really looked good in that game. And pretty much everybody, including myself, won't always do our best.
And also, like, even if you want to have a modern audience feel to it, it doesn't mean it has to look like shit.
Work. Sometimes we mess up, sometimes we make mistakes, and that's a normal thing to have happen on occasion. So I do think it's a little tacky for this person to bring up like, oh, our livelihoods are at risk, as if no one's allowed to criticize the character roster of this AAA game. Like, I don't want anyone's livelihood to be at risk, but come on, that's like a guilt-trippy, tacky move.
Oh, it's so pathetic. It's like this parasocial relationship that people feel like they want you have to feel sorry for them because they made a product that nobody likes. Yeah, cry me a fucking river. Like, do you know how many streamers there are that try to go out there and they put 8 hours into their stream every single day, and then they get 6 viewers after a year? Like, you know what? Sometimes things just don't work out.
You know, guys, I want to just show you what the character models looked like in Concord. So let's look at the character model. So these are the diverse character models. Look at this. So here's the black character model over here. Here's a green guy. Here's a amphibious looking woman. There's a black guy that looks kind of like Sub-Zero, like a bootleg Sub-Zero. None of these characters look very appealing. In fact, they look extremely depressing and demoralizing. Here's another one, guys. Like what I told you, like, you know, of a again, this is complete diversity, equity, and inclusion all over this game. These are the character models, guys. So this guy is probably around, maybe, I want to say 400 or 500 pounds, maybe about 400, not 300, between 400 and 500 pounds. Between 400 and 500 pounds. And this is one of the characters you can play. And again, I'm not fat shaming. I'm just pointing this out. And it's not like he's even like a really cool looking character. Like, you know, he has special, like he can bounce or stuff, or, you know, nope, none of that. None of that. You know, those are the characters that they've given us. You know, here's another one. Here's another one. Yeah. You know, why don't people want to play? Why don't people want to play as these characters? You know, they're so awesome. They are just so awesome. You know, it's misogyny. It's misogyny. If you don't buy Concord, it's misogyny. Here's another character. Okay, if you notice a pattern, like none of these characters are very attractive. All of these characters are very off-putting. Yeah. Even the alien designs are horrible. Okay, like this design is just disgusting. This design, it looks, and we're supposed to look at these characters for hours while we play the game and be like, oh my gosh, finally equity and inclusion. Or, well, I guess if we want to play games, we're just gonna have to pay. We're just gonna have to put up with it, guys. If you create characters that are so repulsive that people just do not want to look at them, what do you think? And again, evidently the gameplay is not the best, but it's not the worst. It's maybe a 7 out of 10 on IGN scale, so probably a 6 because you wouldn't give it an 8. So the 6, you can probably give it a 6, but it still wasn't enough. It's definitely better than Kill the Justice League, and these are the results. These are the results, and they're basically just pissed off. Like they want to blame everyone, and they want to blame men for this. They want to blame men for this game flopping. They want to blame the men who financed the game for this game flopping because they're taking a lot of internal heat right now. You know, they may, guys, the team that made this, they're not going to have an easy time getting jobs in the industry again because they're basically diversity, equity, inclusion. They could have actually created cool character models. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to create feminist propaganda in games. They wanted to create diversity, the so-called diversity, intersectional feminism in games. And this is the results. Gamers quietly, silently just boycotted it. They, you know, Black Myth Wukong, the game they called misogynistic, is now sold $850 million worth of copies in 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. And this game is now, while on the other hand, Concord is shutting down after just 2 weeks. And we may never know the actual number, the actual amount of money that Sony is losing. But from what we understand, it was $130 million development budget. And then when you factor in, that's just the development. There's also marketing, because just like with a movie, you have to market it. So there's marketing, there's distribution, the cost to distribute the game. So, you know, that's they really actually may have lost actually $200 million. My math was, I didn't factor that in because they said the development, they said that it cost 130 million to develop, 100 to 130 million to develop. But we didn't talk about the marketing budget for the game. We didn't talk about the distribution budget for the game. We didn't talk about when you factor those in, it could be actually over $200 million in losses. It could be even $300 million. Because think about it. If you make a movie that costs $100 million, you end up needing something like 250 or a minimum of like 300 million just to break even. Like you make a movie that costs $100 million to make, or 150 million, you end up needing to make like 300 or even like $500 million on that budget, because there's also the marketing budget. So they may actually need to make something like 300 or $400 million just to break even. So the loss that they're taking on this game could actually be over $200 million. Maybe it's less, but it's definitely at least 100 million. But it could actually be over 200 million. Like when everything is said and done, you know, they can try to write off the loss as much as they want as being a gigantic failure, just like The Flash was for WB, just like the movie, or just like the Suicide Squad has been a massive failure. Kill the Justice League has been a massive failure has been a massive failure for WB. Yeah. It's very possible and very probable that we're going to see that event play out once again. And this game is just going to be a minefield of crappery. They're like going to lose so much money. They're going to lose a mind-blowing amount of money. They've already lost $3 billion or in that range on purchasing Bungie. And then on top of that, here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. After they purchased Bungie, they still had to spend money investing in the company. They purchased the company for $3 billion, but they've had to pay the employees. They've had to spend money developing games. So the total loss for Bungie is probably over $3 billion. Because it seems very unlikely that they made back really any money on their investment, even with they lost more money investing in the game, because they didn't, when it came to Destiny 2, it's a live service game, but they're not making back a lot of money evidently from Destiny 2. I don't know. I really don't know, but it's possible they've actually lost over $3 billion on Bungie. We may not know what the total loss is, but it could actually be way more than 3 billion. Like it could actually be like 3.2, 3.5, 4. We really don't know, because we don't know how much money they've sunk into it. So Sony's been taking a lot of L's, and that is probably the main reason why they keep on raising the price of the PlayStation 5. Like, guys, the PlayStation 5 has evidently gone up by $200 since it was released in Japan, and saying that it's because of components and all of this other bullshit is a complete joke. The Xbox video game consoles, Xbox Series consoles, you've been able to pick up a Series S numerous times for as low as like $239, $250. I mean, you can pick one up. They're usually just $300 a pop. $300 a pop. And then the high-end version has always been $499. And you can still purchase the high-end version with a disc drive for $499. It hasn't changed. Yet the price of Sony's consoles keep on going up. And if you look at Nintendo, again, Nintendo, despite everything, they've never raised the prices for the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch OLED is still $299. The Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch original, the first one that they released, is still $299. The Nintendo Switch Lite is still $200. The Nintendo Switch OLED is still $350. Only Sony keeps raising the prices. When the PlayStation 5 came out, it was $399 for the all-digital version, which wasn't terrible, and then $499 for the digital version. And we basically for the version with the disc drive. And we basically expected the all-digital version to go down to $299 eventually, which would make it more affordable and accessible to more consumers. And then the version with the disc drive would go down to $399, which is what happened in previous generations. That didn't happen with Sony here. In fact, they actually increased the price. So when the PlayStation 5 Slim came out, and usually the Slim models basically are cheaper to make, they just simply raised the price. And now the digital only model is $450 in the US. And that's without the disc drive. And if you want a disc drive, it's an attachable disc drive, and it has to be registered online. And basically, it's crazy stuff. If you don't have an internet connection to register it, then it just won't work. Only God knows what's going on with Sony. All right, they're taking advantage of people. They're broke. They're broke. They're in some hot water. And then so they raised it to $450. All right, so it's $450 for the disc drive. For the version with the disc drive, without the disc drive. The all-digital version went up by $50, and in some other countries, it's even more. And the PlayStation 5 Pro is evidently coming out very soon. And what we're hearing is that this thing may actually be, it may be all digital, or there may be two versions of it. And if it's all digital, like, check this out. The all digital version could be anywhere from $499 to $599. And the disc drive, again, you'd have to purchase a disc drive separately for $79. So you may end up spending anywhere from minimum, this is crazy stuff. Because it's going to be the Pro model. So you may end up spending anywhere from $500 for the digital version to $600 for just the digital version. And if you want the disc drive, so for example, the CD drive, where you can play Blu-rays, play physical games that you have to attach to it, that would be another $79. Although they may even charge $100 for it. So even if it's $79, that's $80. So when you just round it off, that's a $600 console. That's a $600 console, y'all. Okay, so so the whole thing may end up actually costing about $599. I don't think it's going to be $700, but the whole thing for, like, basically, if you want this, it's going to be like $700. And they're saying that there may be two versions. It's hard for me to imagine that Sony's going to release the PlayStation 5 Pro without a disc drive. And I could definitely see them releasing two versions. And what's possible here is that, I don't know, they may just keep on making the PlayStation 5 Slim models, or, and it's a big or, they may phase out the PlayStation 5 Slim models, and the only versions of the PlayStation 5 that gamers will be able to purchase going forward will be the PlayStation 5 Pro models. And so, yeah, so basically, you want a PlayStation 5, you're going to have to spend, $500 on indefinitely, $500 or more indefinitely for a PlayStation 5, or without a disc drive, or if you want the disc drive so that you can play your physical games, that's going to be $600. And with what Sony is doing here, we are guaranteed. It's guaranteed that the PlayStation 6 it's guaranteed that the PlayStation 6 will likely cost $600 or $700. And that's probably going to be without a disc drive. Like, if you want a disc drive, you'll have to buy it separately. And a lot of gamers won't buy the disc drive. Some people will go out and get it, but a lot of, because they're basically moving us towards an all digital future. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I really think that the next Xbox will not have physical games. I don't think the next Xbox is going to have physical games. I could be wrong, but they are moving us towards Game Pass. They kind of want to be like Steam or the Netflix of games. And you can see, like, if they can, they would put Game Pass on the PlayStation 5. All right. And they're moving towards basically making all the games available on the PlayStation 5. Because you have to remember that Microsoft is a software company. They've always been a software company, and they only release hardware to push their software and to guide the software experience. So they don't really care so much about the hardware like Apple, because I have a Surface Book, and it was nice at first, but the design, the quality, the keys begin to break in too. I have two different. I have a Surface Book and a Surface laptop. Both of them have gone to hell, and they both went bad in a very short period of time. One of them caught fire, and I reached out to Microsoft and told them what happened, but they were like, yeah, send me some pictures. And I was like, the screen cracked. They're like, oh, that's not because of the fire. So they're like, we're not going to replace it. And I'm like, I don't use it anymore, because if it blows up again, they're probably just either I'm not going to mess around with it. But at least I know that I reported it, and that they have the evidence there. So if something ever happens, they have the details. And they did try to offer me like a discount, like, oh yeah, we'll give you a discount on a Surface Book. They can go to hell. Like, I literally have 3 Macs right now. I have my old Mac Pro. I got that actually by accident, because I was trying to get a backup. I was trying to get a backup Mac, a cheap backup Mac, just in case my MacBook Air went down. So, and I ended up getting a MacBook Pro instead. But there were some issues with it. But the experience was so good that I ended up just buying a brand new Mac, M1, and it was one of the best 16-inch M1. I really took my time. I did my research. I prayed, because I used Mac in the past, and I came back to the Mac ecosystem, and I just was not sure, because I had purchased the MacBook Air M1, and then it was good, but then, like, after using the MacBook Pro, and the keyboard was much larger, the screen real estate was so much better, I was literally like, yeah, I can't do this. I need something bigger. Personally, I would be so happy if Apple released. It's probably never gonna happen. I'll say it right now. It's probably never gonna happen. And the screen on my MacBook, I have to wear glasses now, but the screen I use it for reading on this thing. Yeah, I have pretty good vision still, but yeah, for reading and using the laptop, I just have to. But the screen is like pretty large on it. Like, it's really a nice big screen. But for some reason, the one on the Pro still feels larger. I don't know why. But I think it's because maybe it is, or just I would not be sad. I would not be totally against if Apple decided to make the MacBook Pro even larger. It's already pretty heavy. It's a pretty big device, but that actually, when I take off my glasses, it really does not look that big. It looks so much smaller. But yeah, I know I really don't need anything bigger than this. But I kind of miss just how ginormous. I kind of miss just how ginormous my I think it's like a 2012 or 2013 MacBook Pro felt, because it just feels massive. It feels massive, but the keyboard is actually better on. The keyboard is, like, I think, a bit better. It's better on here, and then the trackpad is I cannot go back. Like, the trackpad on the MacBook Pro on the M1. It's just amazing. It's giant, and it doesn't have. It's not physical. It doesn't have like a physical. When you press on it, there's nothing physical in there. You're not actually pressing down. It's actually haptic feedback. So when you press down, there's a motor that's delivering feedback to you. So it feels like it feels like a click, but the reality is that you're not actually pressing down. It's absolutely amazing. And then there's even a double click, which is unbelievable that Apple was able to master that and pull that off. I really enjoy that. But yeah, I mean, guys, the industry is beginning to fall apart, and these woke people have no one to blame but themselves.
Streaming to Nightbot, yeah, and it sucks, man. But like that's just how it goes. It's not the world's fault that it's not the world's fault that you're not able to do this, right? Like, don't expect other people to like go along and let that happen. If a movie's bad, do you blame the cameraman or the makeup person? No, it's the director's fault or the writer. It's the person who's in charge who's at fault. I think that it's honestly probably most of the time, I bet it is a team effort. With any sort of a big failure like this, I would think that it's a team effort. It's not like one person or like one group of people did it. I think it's just a large group of people that all did it together.
We all need to make an income. That doesn't mean that if we do a bad job on something, no one's allowed to say anything about it.
That's what's so crazy. That is the most annoying fucking thing that I hear. Is like people that are saying, well, these guys, this is their job. If it's your fucking job, then shouldn't you have done a better job? What's this idea that like now you're going to do a shitty fucking job on something and everybody's supposed to be okay with it? What? In what other universe does this work? If you go and you get an oil change at the fucking mechanics and they replace your oil and fuck, said oil? Oh my God, I put Mountain Dew in it again. Oh, jeez. And it's like, I don't want to pay for that. Not again. Stupid fucking mistakes. Oh, wow. Oops. Yeah. Larry, did you do him? You at least gave him code red, right? It's got more caffeine and it'll make the car run faster. Nobody gives a fuck about this. You're never going to go back there again. So I don't want to fucking hear this shit. It's so pathetic that people try to guilt trip and say like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have this feeling. It's crazy.
Surely get the point, so I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. If you enjoyed my coverage, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.
I think that it's so just fucking funny for me to see this. And also, like, I do feel bad for a lot of the artists, but how is it that there are a lot of other games that have modern audience styled characters that don't look like garbage? I refuse to believe that the CEO or the game director was standing behind you and made you make that robot look as stupid as it did. No, I don't believe that.
You know, guys, one of the things I like, so for example, this actually came from Copilot. The game Concord has sparked quite a bit of discussion recently, especially around this portrayal of diversity and inclusion. Some critics have labeled it as woke due to its inclusion of diverse characters and the use of pronouns. However, it's important to note that the game's poor sales and subsequent reception, the game's poor sales and subsequent reception and subsequent shutdown were primarily attributed to its gameplay and design rather than its social themes. From a feminist perspective, the inclusion of diverse characters and pronouns can be seen as a positive step towards representation and its inclusivity. This comes from Microsoft's Copilot, ChatGPT. However, the backlash also highlights ongoing resistance to such changes within certain segments of the gaming community. What are your thoughts on how games handle diversity and representation? So yeah, guys, that's basically the situation right now. They're crying their eyes out because they lost tons of money and they're the victims. So guys, this is this is a major implication for women in business, because when men screw up, they basically get held accountable. When women screw up, they basically say that they are victims, and they're being punished for what men have done. The men are responsible for the failure of this game, even though the men didn't tell them how to design the characters. The men should have basically the executives should have given them more direction, or they should have done more to make the game succeed. It's just instead of throwing money at it and giving them an unlimited amount of direction and power over the game. Does that mean, and guys, that's why I said that they don't operate based on reason. Men operate based on facts. Women operate based on feelings. Okay, so they're just going to choose the feelings that they best like. So they're not operating on facts. They're not going to take accountability for this. Guys, I hope that, like I said, there are possibly even way more games in the pipeline coming from Sony that they developed, that they pumped money into to develop this woke garbage, and they're seeing the results of this. And as we're looking towards economic downturns, I really think Sony's broke right now. I think that's the reason why they keep on raising the prices, because none of the other gaming companies are raising prices for their systems. All right, Nintendo didn't do it. Microsoft didn't do it. Microsoft didn't really do it. I don't know if there was like a change for, like, there's a new console. There's a digital version console coming, and it's basically priced funny, I think, but it doesn't replace the current version. I don't think so. I don't think that. Forgive me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I don't think that it changes the price. Like, I think that the Xbox Series X, the price of the Xbox Series X is actually $400. Interesting. So at Best Buy, these things are pretty much always on sale. They're pretty much always on sale. So that's an interesting thing. When I just looked at the price at Best Buy right now, it's actually really affordable. So it's 400, and it looks pretty sick for the robot white version of the Microsoft version, Xbox version of this thing is only $449 for the digital version, brand new, 1 terabyte. Okay, so it's the 1 terabyte all digital console, disc free, and it's $449. So I mean, yeah, it's basically priced. It's basically priced the same as Sony's version, so it's not $399 the way it really should be. It should be $399. So in a sense, it's not really a price increase though, when you think about it, because they never had, this is their first all digital version, and they're not raising the price for the all digital Xbox Series S. So it's like, yeah, this thing should be $399, but oh well, versus and you don't have the ability to even equip a separate drive. This is just all digital, versus Sony's console, versus Sony's console that's that will charge you an extra $79 for an add-on, right? And if you want to get the let me see here. If you want to get the full version of the console, like you want to get like the Xbox Series X console, it's still $499 with a disc drive, $500. So pretty much what it came out at launch. We haven't really seen any price cuts. Microsoft it's just what it is. It's a very strange console generation. It's a really, really strange console generation, because this thing has been out for 4 years now, going into 5 years. We'll be heading into 5 years very soon, into the 5th year, and there are no price cuts on this thing. So it's really, really strange. But again, it is what it is. It's 100% what it is. But Sony is desperate for money. They're absolutely 100% desperate for money, raising the price of these things all around the world, selling them for crazy amounts of money. And then there is a version for $599. They have a but that comes with a 2 terabyte hard drive. So it's a 2 terabyte. This one is like there's a Microsoft Xbox Series X 2 terabyte console, and that also includes the disk drive. So it's 2 terabytes. It's 2 terabytes, and it also includes the disk drive. So that's a major thing to consider. That's a very, very major thing to consider, that does come with 2 terabytes. So you get that extra space. It's $100 more, but you also do get that extra space versus the PlayStation 5 where it's the PlayStation 5 where it's $4.99 and like, it is what it is. It just really is what it is. Like the PlayStation guys, I don't know. I think that what we're seeing right now is like it's only going to get worse from here. It's not going to get any better.
That it just again it goes against everything that I could ever even conceptualize. They weren't sitting behind you and being like, oh well make this one dumber, make her fatter, make her arms bigger. Yeah, like they surely didn't care though. Yeah, they did a bad job. You did a bad job. Like I feel like so what were you doing for those 8 years? Oh, I committed a felony assault and I had to spend 8 years in prison. The interviews are like, oh, thank God. Wow. I thought you were an artist for Concord.
Yeah. So if we look at this article right here, it just came out. So yeah, just came out, like literally just came out. Concord developers failure of leadership. So they're blaming the company, they're blaming the executives, and designed by committee affected the art direction. Designed by committee, they're blaming the executives for the art direction. They're blaming the executives for the failure of the game. Some on the team no longer want to work in games, design characters, or even do art anymore after this. Much has been said about Sony's disastrously misjudged GAAS venture, Concord, a game that seemingly no one was interested in and may well end up being one of the biggest flops in the industry, biggest flops the industry has ever seen. I think it's the biggest flop ever. The characters in Concord have been one of the most criticized aspects of the game. They have been accused of being everything from generic to advertisements for political correctness culture, which according to one of the game's developers, Amanda Kiefer, is partly due to the lack of overall design plan. Okay, so guys, Amanda Kiefer is blaming the political correctness culture on the leadership. They're blaming the wokeness, the feminism, all of it, or at least partly on the lack of overall design plan. So they were given a full reign. They were told make the most woke, feminist, make the game that you want to make. And they're saying that they were not given proper direction. They were told not to do certain things. They were told they could basically do anything that they wanted to do. But this is where it ultimately leads. Like I dropped a video for you recently where feminists are now blaming each other for feminism. Feminists are blaming each other. Women are blaming each other for feminism because they're waking up and realizing that they're single. They're not going to have children. They don't have any families. A lot of them are developing health conditions. They're alone. Chad and Tyrone are in the streets and chasing after young and basically young women they're having their turn with Chad and Tyrone because they get women get older and Chad and Tyrone stay the same until they end up in their 60s and now they're old burnt out druggies, but that's a whole other story. Until then, they're out there having fun. All right, they are always in fashion. They will always be in fashion until they're old burnt out druggies in their 60s. All right, and even then, they're still pulling ass on the streets. A lot of them. Okay, homeless ass, but ass is ass. And so these women, they don't have good men. And they really don't deserve good men. This notion that we're supposed to buy a woman's love, give her an expensive wedding ring, that's all a load of bullshit, y'all. All right? You're not supposed to go in. Guys, in countries like the Philippines, you do not give a woman an expensive wedding ring when you get married. Okay? I don't even know what the culture is over there, but they do not go and hand out diamond rings, especially in a country where the average person makes, where $3,000 is a lot of money for the average person. $3,000 a year because the cost of living is so different over there. And it's like that all around. It's like that in so many countries across the world. And this is the type of bullshit, this is the type of bullcrap these companies have been pulling. So guys, they're blaming the men for not controlling them. They're blaming the men for allowing them to do what they wanted to do and express themselves, give characters pronouns. They're blaming the men for this. Unbelievable. So women are blaming other women for feminism, and feminists are blaming the men for allowing them to make a feminist game that did not have any restrictions on it. Even worse, the person says that the executives simply didn't listen to the feedback or complaints of the production team, which you can read in a post from the person on the now locked X account. I'm just going to say this here. A lot affected the art side of Concord, including design by committee, failure of some leadership to listen to the art team, etc. The character concept art team, including myself, is going through an extremely difficult time emotionally, and some on the team no longer want to work in games. Yeah, you can go work at Starbucks where you belong. Go work at Starbucks and try to bum tips. That's where you guys belong. You just lost over $100 million. Design maybe 300 million. We may never know. Well, guys, actually, here's the crazy thing. We may eventually find out how much money. You know the reason why? Because Sony is a publicly traded company. So when they do their whole tax write-off thing, I don't think that they can conceal it. So when they do their tax write-off for Concord, they're probably going to write it off because either they'll retool it. It doesn't make any sense. And if they do try to retool it, it's going to be pumping more money into a dead game. They really have more. They're more than likely going to write it off. And so if and when they do write it off, and they will probably do it in the next year, maybe next year in the next tax season, possibly. It could be this tax season, it could be the next tax season, it could be sometime. It doesn't really matter. When they file those taxes, because it's a publicly traded company, they have to disclose that write-off, I think, publicly. And as a result of that, we'll probably see exactly how much they're writing Concord off for. Even if it's not labeled exactly, we can take a guess and say, yeah, this is probably Concord here. And it could be low. It could be something. It's probably not going to be $50 million. Maybe it's $50 million. I don't think so. But they're saying this thing costs up to like 100, between 100. This thing costs 130 or even 200 million. I don't know. So if we see something like a $400 million write-off, guys, you know, it's going to be crazy. And of course, it may not entirely be just Concord. It could also be Bungie. But then again, Bungie was purchased a little while ago. So I don't know if that would be there. So I don't think it would be a write-off for Bungie. Could be, but I don't know. It'd probably be a full write-off for Concord. So we very well may find out how much they end up trying to write this game off for, and that would tell us how much they've actually lost on it. So they go on to say the character concept art team, including myself, is going through an extremely difficult time emotionally, and some of the team no longer want to work in games, design characters, or even do art anymore after this. Sad as hell for the artist if this is the truth. And unfortunately, in that case, there's another example of how boardrooms are negatively impacting the AAA scene more and more. What are your thoughts on Concord? So basically, the writer of this article, Marcus Persson, is blaming the committee, blaming the executives for the art designs that they chose. So the women chose feminist designs that would be diverse, would be diverse, and intersectional feminism. You may even have some characters in there that are representative of the not of the TRA and S community. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. So you may have some people who are, I don't know if there are any trans players in the game. We can actually look that up. Are there any trans characters in the Concord game? So, I mean, I can Google that. Is there any trans characters in the game? And, and yes, there are trans characters in the game Concord. One notable character is Baz, voiced by Mila Jam, who is a black transgender woman. Baz is a free gunner in the game and described as bold both on the battlefield and in her fashion choices. Wow. And basically, I think Baz, let me see here. Let's see, Concord. We'll just actually look it up. Concord game Baz. And I think that's absolutely right about it. Absolutely right about it. So that's the one, that's the character that I actually showed you some time ago. I showed you basically showed you an image of that character a little while ago. It's basically the black character with the poofy hair. So let's put that on the screen for you guys. There you go. So this is Baz. This is actually a transgender character. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything negative about transgender characters and diversity, but this is Baz. This is a transgender character. and her pronouns, as you can see up there, are she and her. Yeah, and evidently there are multiple transgender characters in the game, but this is the most notable transgender character. And they are blaming the men and the executives for this. That, guys, this is a load of crazy. It's a load of crazy. It's a load of crazy. How are they? You were given a free reign to make the game that you wanted to make. You were told, hey, you can go ahead and make the game you wanted to make, and we'll just pay for it. And now you're blaming them. I mean, maybe the executives were pushing them to create a game that was very, very woke. But they're the ones. She's the art director, so she chose to create these games. They could also, now, to be very clear, guys, there also could be some consideration that maybe Sony themselves also pressured them to create characters, and this is another thing. It could, so we have to be fair. It could also be Sony and the executives at the company that also pressured them to create to make sure that there was extraordinary amounts of inclusion and representation in the game, because basically it was more important to push the narrative and diversity, equity, inclusion than anything else. Because this has Sweet Baby Inc. written all over it. The diversity, equity, inclusion company that's been consulted on a lot of games, and supposedly GTA 6, they consulted these people over it. By the way, GTA 6 is evidently going to be delayed. I'm not going to pick it up. I'm not picking it up, at least not for now. We're gonna have this, like, I don't plan on picking it up. Like, I think it's gonna be a load of woke garbage. And of course, like, IGN is gonna call it amazing, the first outing of Lucia and how great she is in representation. And they might even go as far as saying that it's not woke. Don't listen to what they're saying. I don't think the new Zelda game that's coming up, I forget the exact name of it, something Wisdom. I really like it. For so long, we've wanted to play a Zelda in a Zelda game. All right? It's basically the Legend of Link. A lot of people are saying that it's woke. I don't really think so. I will say, though, that there's a promotion for it, and they said, like, Zelda will save the world or save Hyrule only the way she could. And I will say that line really was kind of like taking like a jab at Link and suggesting that, only she can save it. Like, Zelda, like, only how she could. Like, Link has been saving Hyrule for 40 years now, bro. Like, or almost 40 years now. So they kind of like take a jab, like, only how she could. It's like trying to say, she's like, yeah, I don't know. Do I think that the very next Zelda game, the next 3D Zelda game, is going to star Zelda? I don't know, because this is a 2D game, but will the next 3D game star Zelda? I don't know. Maybe it might. She has another form called Sheik, but I think it might appear in this game too. I think it's called Sheik, but I mean, if the next Zelda game is a full 3D version of the game with Zelda, again, it's a hard one for me because we've wanted games starring Zelda for a long time. We always play as Link. I love playing as Link. I think Link is really awesome. But being able to play as Zelda and have a different outlook on it, for me, is kind of cool. I love playing as Link. Link is great. But I'm kind of tired. Like, I'm not tired of Link. I just like the idea of being able to play Zelda. Being able to play as Zelda and experience, what Zelda brings uniquely to the table. And that, like, but again, it does feel like there's maybe like a tiny bit of wokeness in there, or because like they did just come out with like a game starring Princess Peaches earlier this year, and in the Mario movie, they make I didn't even watch all of it. They made Princess Peaches like this badass character, and she's like killing it in the obstacle course, and Mario's like a fucking idiot. And it felt so woke, like, oh, you're gonna turn Mario into an idiot, and like Peach, like this really empowered princess, like she can do anything. Like, why the hell is Mario even in the game then? In the game, there you go. In the movie, then, like, why don't she needs to go and save the entire damn world for herself? I'm just being serious, because they make Mario into a complete fucking idiot. So I say, I mean, like, literally, leave us the hell alone. Mario needs to stop saving. I mean, I guess she can save her own damn self. She can save her own damn self. But I am looking forward. I just really wish they would like leave out these little jabs, like, oh, Zelda, she'll save the world the only way, the way only she could. The only, like, what are you talking about? Link has saved the world many times, bro. He's been saving the world for almost 40 years. You know, let's ask. When did the first Legend of Zelda game come out? All right, yeah, guys. The first Legend of Zelda game came out. Yes, the first Legend of Zelda game was released on February 21st, 1986 in Japan. 1986, guys. So it's actually been 28 years. 28 years, y'all. Zelda, the first Zelda game came out 28 years ago, starring Link. Not 28, 38 years. 38 years ago. All right? Came out 38 years ago, starring Link. And it's been almost 40 years of Link. So it's the first time in 40 years. So I want to play as Zelda. I want to see what Zelda brings to the table. All right? But at the same time, I just don't like these jabs at masculinity or suggesting that, she's going to save the world in a way that only she's going to save the world because only she can. Like, that's a load of bullshit. All right? Total load of bullshit. Link has been saving the world for 40 years. All right? Or for almost 40 years. And now you're going to come with that bullshit? It's not going to stop me from purchasing the game. I think I already pre-purchased it. I already think I pre-ordered it. So there's that. I think I can still cancel it, but I'm not canceling it. I'm going to get it and play it. I just hate the fact that they're going to be like, yeah, this is how we can push inclusion. But the thing about Nintendo is Nintendo kind of walks the line. Even if they're kind of going in that direction a little bit, I don't know if they'll ever go fully in that direction because I don't think they want to completely alienate their fan base. They're definitely trying to push more into the female sector of the game. But if you look at the Princess Peach game where, she plays like they're like it's like a dress up type of thing, it's definitely aimed towards girls, but I don't even think it's sold very well. I don't think that it's sold very well, but they're definitely trying to go into that market where for more inclusivity. It was definitely I don't really think it's the worst thing in the world. I don't think it's the worst thing to have a game like this to see if, hey, maybe little girls want to play it. It's okay. I don't think it's terrible, considering that most of the games out there are centered around Mario and so forth. But if they start going in this direction where, the next Mario game is going to star Peaches, then yeah, like the next major Mario title is going to star Peaches, then I think we need to be worried. But I mean, if you look at things, for example, last year we got a remake for Mario RPG. I didn't even play it yet. I think I have it. Didn't play it yet. Then we're going to end. We just got Mario. We got Mario's. What do you call it? Luigi's Mansion 2 this past summer. So we got Luigi's Mansion 2 again. That was a remaster. But then think about this. We're also going to be getting in the fall. We're going to be getting in just a few months Mario and Luigi. So Mario and Luigi RPG. That's a brand new RPG. And last year we also got, I believe it was last year, we also got Mario Wonder. So again, those are a bunch of Mario games focused around Mario, okay? Where Mario is the star. All right, 2 are brand new. So I'm not really too worried about any of this. It's just kind of interesting that in 1 year, the same year, we got a game centered on Peach, and we got a game centered on Zelda. That is a little concerning. I'll definitely admit that's a little bit concerning. Where Nintendo is where the major releases for the year, major first party releases for the year. They're releasing 3 major first party games for the year, and I can't say that this was a major title, but it was Nintendo first party game, that Peaches game, and that was a game starring Peaches, and then the latest Zelda game is starring Zelda, and but they do have a Mario and Luigi RPG. So it's like, are they trying to push Mario out? I don't think so. And like I said, I think it's pretty interesting because if they tried to introduce the same concept using Link, it would just be kind of strange. In the case of Link, they could have done it, but in the case of this game, it's kind of interesting because it's centered more around Zelda and wisdom and her ability to, basically you're gonna have to think through things. So play the game in a different way. It's interesting. I find that concept pretty interesting. kind of concept pretty interesting. You know, guys, this is my next video, third video that I'm recording right now. Brain is literally feeling tired. And you know, we're over 1 hour into this video. I'm able to just rant. I just basically sit here and I rant and I just go. Because like now we have to drop these videos that are much longer. YouTube wants these videos to be really, really long. They want us to engage you guys and we want us to give you a show so that you're going to enjoy yourselves thoroughly and keep on watching. And it sucks if like you guys like if there's like it doesn't have super engagement, because then it's like you know, you make a 1 hour video and then you make $15 for that video. That really sucks. You know, how long did the video took over an hour to make. So it's like, what's crazy is, you know, typically most videos are like 10 minutes long, right? But now we have to make much longer videos. And if you do the math, like this video is going to be it's already like over 1 hour, 15 minutes long. And if this video doesn't perform well, if it has a low RPM, so it could get thousands of views, but then it has a low RPM, and you end up like making $15 for this video, or even $25. It's like, 25 is not bad. 25 is not terrible, consider all things considered, but it's just like this video this right now with the current length of this video, this would be equivalent to about 7 videos or almost 7 videos. Like these videos, like a video that's an hour and 10 minutes long, that's equivalent to about 7 videos, guys. 7 videos for you. All right, hour and 20. Like we're now pushing 8 videos that you would have gotten over the course of a couple of days. Now, of course, it's different because I'd have to do different topics for each and every single video. I have to create thumbnails for each and every single video. 3 videos for every video that I drop. I have to create 3 thumbnails. So it's not entirely the same. Yeah, 3 thumbnails. What happens now is that what YouTube does is we have to create 3 different thumbnails. That's what most of us have to do. And it's called A/B testing. And then YouTube decides which thumbnail is resulting in the most watch time. So basically it sets the best expectation for the video is about, and people who click on this thumbnail are more likely to watch the video and stay engaged and watch the video for longer. And then they'll basically say, okay, so we'll choose this video. It's not a perfect system. It can sometimes even take weeks for YouTube to decide, even if the video gets a couple thousand views. It could still take a while for YouTube to make a decision. And maybe sometimes they don't even come to a conclusion, because usually they just choose the thumbnail that ended up working out best. Sometimes it could just take a couple of hours or 24 hours. Other times it could take a couple of days or a couple of weeks. But I found that I think that it's beneficial, it's useful, and it doesn't even just come down to the style, because you can use the same style across all videos, and different video topics will basically win with different thumbnails, even though they all have using the same style consistently across all the different thumbnails. It's strange. It's strange, It's like, for example, you can have 3 different style designs, but you're using the same 3 different style designs across all of your videos. And one style will resonate with one video, while another style will resonate with another video. And sometimes it could be a variety of different things. It could be the thumbnail itself, the style, or it could be the text that you use. If you mix it up and you use different text or different message, different title on it. There's all kinds of factors, different art. So it's hard. It's hard. It's a lot of work that you have to consider when you're designing. But I will say this, guys, I do not feel one bit about Concord. And this was guys, this has been a year of L's. It has been a year of L's for the gaming industry. The whole go woke, go broke thing is incredible. Microsoft just literally laid off their entire diversity, equity, inclusion department this past year. They fired all of them. So that's just to show you how bad diversity, equity, inclusion is screwing up the bottom line for these companies. Because Microsoft is a hardcore woke company, and now they've done this. So that should tell you a lot. That should tell you an absolute lot about all of this. By the way, oh my gosh, my throat. I'm telling you, like, it's not sore, but it's beginning to burn because just from talking so much. So hopefully I feel better after. Like, I'm gonna drink some water, and hopefully I feel better.
If I knew somebody worked on this game, I would probably never want to hire them for anything ever again. I do. Like, I'm sorry. And the thing is that I understand that with anything like this, that I'm sure there were good people that were working and were trying to do their best. But you know what? If you're running a company, would you want to take that risk? Would you want to take that chance bringing in somebody who might not necessarily know that? Would you want to risk that? I wouldn't. And like, again, yeah, you're being unreasonable. Let me read this to see. I'm being unreasonable. Okay. Lovely. Why is that? Can we add that's a great question. Somebody asked, can we add Concord to the criminal record? I think that probably, like, we do need a new law for that. You know, if you work on one of these really bad video games, you should just go to fucking jail. Okay, what is this here? The art's not that bad. Oh, it's not that bad. It's not good enough. It's not that bad. That means it's bad. Not that bad. Okay, so you have. All right. Okay. Okay, you want to do this? Let's do it. All right. Okay. We're gonna have right here. This is. Okay. All right. Dirt. So if you look at the chart that I've just created, you would see that on the spectrum chart here, not that bad is still categorized inside of the bad category. So not that bad is still bad. Do you understand how, like, this doesn't really work with me? The art direction maybe, but the models are well done. Also, Ackman said the video for the marketing for the game sucked. The marketing for the game sucked? Really? Okay, then explain Deadlock. It's just, again, like, no. Nope, nope, nope. Not for me. Spanko's on shit analogy? Yep. It's Valve. What, Sony's not big? People don't take Sony seriously? People only take Valve seriously? Come on. What are we talking about? Or it's not that bad? Yes. So anyway, if you go back and you look at this chart, you will see that really bad and not that bad are still inside of the bad category. Okay and decent are inside of the neutral category. And pretty good and amazing are inside of the good category. Art, and also, by the way, somebody brings up a really great point. Art is part of the marketing. I would ask the question how much freedom the artist had when creating the characters. I wouldn't even give a fuck. Like, if I found somebody worked on that game, I would not want to hire them. Let's be honest, right?
You know, guys, and this thing of, like, going after white males and saying, like, guys, like, this game basically tried to push white males out of the game as well, or demasculinize them. And think about this: your main segment, like, guys, where were all the simps? This is a good question. Like, guys, where are all the simps? All the simps that are attacking men. Where were the simps? Why didn't they purchase the game? I guess it was like 25,000 guys. 25,000 simps purchased this game, y'all. Some 25,000. That had most of those guys had to be simps. Most of those people had to be simps. 25,000 simps purchased this game, and just look at it. Look at the results, guys. You know, all of that attacking, saying that, you know, there are too many white males in the gaming industry. There are too many white guys in tech. There are too many white guys. There are too many games centered around white males. So you alienate a large segment, the largest segment of your population, and now you're crying. Now you're crying and claiming to be a victim. Yeah, that's not a good look. And by the way, guys, we have the Angry Guy Clubhouse. It's our space. You can go check it out. There's a link to a description in the video. We've got exclusive podcasts. We've got extended videos. We've got guides. We've got a chat for you guys. There's everything like, for example, did feminism fail women? The unexpected backlash and blame. That's a good one. That's a good read. The silent rage of Gen X, forging the fires of reality. There's some real kooky stuff here. Thanos' blunder, why a population cap would have saved humanity. We have another one about the boomers. Millions of boomers are ending up homeless, like as they should. If you want to know about business, we have guides like how to build a thriving business empire and have fun doing it. It's not just that, guys. It's a good time. It's a good time. And of course, we give a layout. Everything is free. You just have to go sign up. And when you sign up, you also get a free copy of our digital nomad blueprint. It's right in the welcome email, guys. What do you think about this massive blunder on the part of Sony? Gamers are boycotting. Gamers have launched a massive boycott against feminism, and they won. Gamers' massive boycott against feminism has won. They lost. They basically lost, and it's only going to continue going in this direction as they basically walk away from woke. People are not going to spend their hard-earned money on this garbage where you have $70 games, and I guarantee you, Sony is really salivating right now, and they're probably going to try to push games up to like $89, $90 for the next generation, or $100. Like, do not doubt one bit that the PlayStation 6, because it's not with inflation. Oh my gosh, with inflation, guys, don't be shocked when games are now $80 or $90. Or Sony says that some games will be 80, some games will be 90, some games will be 100. I am telling you, I shit you not. It will happen, okay? Don't be shocked when they try to push games up to $80. It's possible it may not, but I think it's extremely likely that we're going to see $80 as the standard price very soon, and then they'll basically play with it. So, for example, when they have a game like GTA 6, like guys, GTA 6 when it releases on because they're gonna do like the whole re-release thing. GTA 6 when it releases on the PlayStation 6, that it's probably gonna cost $80. Probably gonna cost $80 when it releases on the PlayStation 6. That's gonna be an $80 game. Okay. And all these idiots are gonna pay for it, and they'll just play around with the pricing. They're like, the next God of War, whatever, what comes out next. So there probably will be another one. I think I can't say for sure, but there'll probably be another God of War, and they're probably saving it for the PlayStation 6, their next trilogy. That's probably going to be another $80. If they bring back the Nathan Drake series of games, which I think they should. I think he retired at the end of the game. But, they can definitely do like a spin-off or another universe, or they could just reboot the entire franchise. That would be a smart move. That'd be an extremely smart move just to reboot the entire Nathan Drake franchise. It had a great story, but just reboot it for a new generation. They absolutely could do that, or they may just do like a whole series of remasters if they already haven't. Because probably have, but they'll probably I think we're gonna see like things like that happen, either like a massive remaster or just a reboot or a spin-off with like other characters, maybe another universe entirely. Who knows? But I think that we can see it going in that direction, probably starring like a female character, because they're not going to stop with this diversity, equity, inclusion crap. And that they're gonna price that for $80. Like when these titles start to drop, the next Drake or Drake-like game, that's gonna be $80. The next Tomb Raider games from the next Tomb Raider game, that's gonna be $80. Like they're on the PlayStation 6. These are all gonna be $80 games. All right, like the way they were back in the 90s, like with Nintendo games. Nintendo games used to be like $80. They used to be like $70, $80 a pop. They were really expensive because of the cartridge format, cartridge unit. They used to cost a lot. Nintendo 64 games used to cost more. PlayStation 5, PlayStation really revolutionized things with CDs. So we ended up with games that cost $50 a pop. It was great. And then we had the greatest hits. So those games ended up costing $20 a pop. So that was really revolutionary for us. That was really revolutionary when we ended up with $20 games. Like, holy cow, Greatest Hits was so cool. Like, you could literally in the same year, a game that was $50 can now within a year, within the same year, or within a year's time, I think. I don't think, or 2 years, you'd end up having like these really popular games now really cheap, and you can pick them up for $20 and really enjoy them. So that was really awesome. And they're gonna play this game where they're gonna basically release these games for like crazy prices, and people who want the game, they're still gonna have like all the different versions. Like it's gonna like, oh, the top version is only $200, and idiots are still gonna buy it, and then hopefully it hurts the bottom line. Hopefully they get screwed and it scares people off, but they're never gonna stop trying to do it. They are never gonna stop trying to do it. And basically after that happens, it'll be very interesting to see where things go. It will be very, very interesting to see where things go after that happens. I think Nintendo also might have taken a big hit on The Legend of Zelda, with that price increase, because it sold like 20 something million copies, but it's definitely not selling. Its attachment rate is just not like Breath of the Wild, and I don't know if Nintendo's thinking about this, that yeah, maybe the price, because Zelda. Let's look it up. Well, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, right? Tears of the Kingdom. If we check it out on Nintendo's website, because I still think it's the same. I still think that it's the same exact price that it was when it came out there. But I'll do a little bit of investigation for you guys. I mean, it's on. You can pick up the physical version. It says it's $69.99. Yeah, it's still $69.99. So selling it for $70, I think, was a bad idea. I think they made a bad decision selling it for $70. They were like, oh well, we can charge $70 for it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think it was a mistake. And they're gonna, now their first party. Like, can you imagine? Oh, you want to play Mario Wonder? $70 for Mario Wonder? Are you out of your damn minds? $70 for Mario Wonder? I mean, it's a great game. I love 2D games, but it's like paying $70 for Hollow Knight. Like, you get Hollow Knight for like $30. I think it's like $15 right now for Hollow Knight. Like I'll look it up on Steam. Like Hollow Knight, right? Steam. Let's see how much it costs on Steam. It's interesting. It's $14.99 on Steam. $14.99 on Steam, and PS5. Let's check how much it costs on PS5. I don't know if I can find the store. Let's see here. On PlayStation 5, it's also $14.99. And Hollow Knight's a great game. It's a great game. It's a great art. I guess it's kind of like an RPG. I mean, it's Hollow Knight an RPG? Let's figure out. Is Hollow Knight an RPG? Let me see here. It's actually not an RPG. Hollow Knight is not an RPG, but it does have some RPG aspects to it. It is a vibrant, dark, and cute game where you control a mysterious knight that looks like a bug, and it is in a world full of other bug-like creatures. However, there's an unofficial tabletop role-playing system inspired by the game called Unofficial Hollow Knight RPG. So I guess it's an action. I guess it's an action game. 2D action platformer, something like that, with RPG-like elements. It's okay. I mean, all I know is I really enjoy the game. Really, really like Hollow Knight. Guys, like, drop in the comments what games you're playing right now, what games you really enjoy. Want to know what games you're really enjoying right now, what games you're actually into. My head is hurting so bad. I took some Excedrin today, the headache medicine, and they basically say do not take more than 24 hours in a single hour unless advised by your doctor. So I'm living off painkillers. Making these 1-hour videos, I get carried away. Because really, guys, I just have a lot to say. And it's like I should end the video, but it's like talking to a friend. When I'm making the videos, I'm talking to you. It's like talking to a friend. And it's like kind of therapy for me, because I'm basically getting to say the things that I want to say. And it's like, I don't want our time to end. I should go watch some anime to try to play some games. I don't play enough games. But it's hard. It's hard on me because I don't want our time to end. I really enjoy just talking and I have the gift for gab. I've been told this before. I have the gift for gab. I can talk about pretty much any subject for a long period of time. And you guys can see that. This is how I make my money. But it can also backfire. It can also backfire. On one hand, making these longer videos has been really helpful in the sense that, I don't have to, I'm still putting out a lot of videos. I'm putting out about 4 videos a day now. So before originally I started out doing 6 videos a day. Sometimes I used to do 10, then it went down to 6, then it went down to 5. And now that I'm doing the longer videos, oh, it hurts. Now that I'm doing the longer videos for you, we're doing about 4 videos a day, but these videos are like usually around 40 minutes to over an hour. So you're getting a much, much longer experience. And I should be, realistically speaking, I should be like, okay, you know what, that's enough of that. But I'm just so engaged and I'm so into the work that I'm doing. I just enjoy it so much that it's hard for me to like just step away. It's hard for me to say, okay, well, that's enough. That's enough angry. You've done enough. Now you need to go take a break. And because for me, I love it. I love putting out content. I love making content for you. There's actually another video from Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is pissed off about woke culture. Mr. Bean is actually pissed off about woke culture. This video also comes from Asmon Gold, and it's actually titled Mr. Beast, not that guy. Mr. Bean is unfathomably based. So yeah, I'll have Asmon Gold's channel linked in the description so you can go and check out his channel, support his work. He's a little known YouTuber. Hopefully he gets, me promoting him helps him get some more views. I mean, his Asmon Gold TV channel, it only has 2.84 million subscribers, but I mean, hopefully it'll help him to hopefully this plug will help him to come up in the numbers.
People say no one's being arrested in the UK for posting a meme. Mr. Bean on free speech. Okay, well, let's see what Mr. Bean has to say.
My starting point when it comes to the consideration of any issue relating to free speech is my passionate belief that the second most precious thing in life is the right to express yourself freely. That is because I have enjoyed free expression in this country all my professional life and fully expect to continue to do so. Personally, I suspect highly unlikely to be arrested for whatever laws exist to contain free expression because of the undoubtedly privileged position that is afforded to those of a high public profile. So my concerns are less for myself and more for those more vulnerable.
He's saying that rich people can do things that poor people can't do.
Like the man arrested in Oxford.
Imagine that.
For calling a police horse gay.
A man got arrested. Wait, what?
Like the man arrested in Oxford for calling a police horse gay.
Well, why would they arrest him? If you arrest him, that means that being called gay is bad. And if being gay is bad, isn't that homophobic? What the fuck, man?
I read somewhere a defender of the status quo claiming that the fact that the gay horse case was dropped after the arrested man refused to pay the fine was proof that the law was working well.
That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my entire life. If you use that argumentation, then that means that anything that happens where the case is dropped. Has there ever been a case where somebody was eating a potato and they got arrested but the charge got dropped? No, it never happened because it's not against the law. Like that's insane.
The fact that the only reason these cases were dropped was because of the publicity that they had attracted.
Yeah, it's probably true.
The police sensed that ridicule was just around the corner and withdrew their action. But what about the thousands of other cases that did not enjoy the oxygen of publicity?
Think of all the gay horses that we don't know about.
Even for those actions that were withdrawn, people were arrested, questioned, taken to court, and then released. The clear problem with the outlawing of insult is that too many things can be interpreted as such. Criticism is easily construed as insult by certain parties.
Yeah, that's right. People disagreeing with you is harassment. You might have learned this from Twitter. Mr. Based? Yeah, I know.
It is what you might call the new intolerance.
Yep.
New but intense desire to gag uncomfortable voices of dissent. I am not intolerant, say many people. Say many softly spoken, highly educated, liberal-minded. I'm only intolerant of intolerance. And people tend to nod sagely and say, oh, yes, wise words, wise words. And yet, if you think about this supposedly inarguable statement for longer than 5 seconds,
that's the reason why this statement is so popular on Twitter, is because in order to figure out the problems with it, you have to think about it for more than 5 seconds.
All it is advocating is the replacement of one kind of intolerance with another.
That's right.
Which to me doesn't represent any kind of progress at all.
And Mr. Bean is one of the UK's most decorated celebrities. So they really don't want to mess with Mr. Bean. All right. If you check out this, guys, for example, misogyny, I talked about this many times. I will not stop talking about it. Misogyny will be treated as extremism by UK government. Check that out. And, extreme misogyny will be treated as a form of extremism under new government plans, the Home Office said. Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, has ordered a review of the UK's counter-extremism strategy to determine how to best tackle threats posed by harmful ideologies. So basically by harmful thoughts. The analysis will look at hatred of women as one of the ideological trends, so that the government says is gaining traction. So if you're having thoughts that are harmful or hateful towards women, that is a form of extreme terrorism. Miss Cooper said, or that can be deemed as hateful towards women. Miss Cooper said that there has been a rise in extremism both online and on our streets, and that phrase the very fabric of our communities and our democracy. The review will look at the rise of far-right extremism in the UK, as well as wider ideological trends, including extreme misogyny or beliefs which fit into the broader category, such as violence. It will also look at the cause and conduct and the radicalization of young people. Ms. Cooper said the strategy will map and monitor extremist trends to work out how to disrupt and divert people away from them. It will also identify any gaps in existing policies which need to be addressed to crack down on those pushing harmful and hateful beliefs and violence. Yeah, censorship. Ms. Cooper said the action against extremism will be badly hollowed out. Has been badly hollowed out in recent years. The work will inform a new counter-extremism strategy, which was promised in Labour manifesto, and which the Home Office Secretary will respond to growing and changing patterns of extremism across the UK. The review is expected to be completed by October. It is one of a number of policy reviews Labour has announced since coming to power in July. This is absolutely crazy. Critics might argue that some reviews are a proxy for actual action, but Labour has pointed out that there has been no new counter-extremism strategy since 2015, and that an assessment of new and emerging threats is overdue. This is also not the first time that the government has considered misogyny as a form of extremism. So basically, extremism meaning terrorism. For some years, there has been concern around incel culture and online movement of mainly young men who describe themselves as involuntary celibate and blame women and alpha males for their problems. And, a mass bad event in 2021 by 22-year-old, I won't even say his name, Control-Alt-Deleted 5 people before self-control-alt-deletion. And this was linked to the incel ideology. At the time, no further policy was taken, but incidents like this one and also the rise of social media influencers such as Andrew Tate, a self-proclaimed misogynist, may have pushed the new government to think again. Under this policy, if boys are even suspected of being susceptible to extreme misogyny, the manosphere, or the influence of Andrew Tate, they will be their teachers and anyone around them and in positions of influence are required to notify the law enforcement, specifically the Department of Terrorism in the UK, and these young men will be hauled off, questioned, have their human rights stripped. I'm not making it up. Have their human rights stripped away from them, and they could actually. And remember that extremism is also it is a crime. It is a crime that could be punishable by control-alt-deletion or lifetime in prison. So if you as a young boy are even considered susceptible to the thoughts or even thinking about misogyny, all right, whatever they deem extreme misogyny, if you're even considered susceptible to it, your teacher could have you locked away. These women can have you. It doesn't even have to be your teacher. It could be a classmate. They can call a number, have you picked up, taken away, and locked away for the rest of your life, stripped of your human rights, stripped of your clothes, your dignity. Imagine being hauled out, strip searched, and then being locked in a room and no lawyer, nothing, and being questioned undoubtedly about your thoughts and the kinds of thoughts that you're having by adults. Oh, hey, son, you've been having this kind of thought, sleep deprivation, because you're being treated like a terrorist. And imagine like a 12 or a 13-year-old boy being questioned by the Department of Terror. And basically they've done nothing wrong. So they're going to do a criminal profile. Maybe they'll lock you up in a psych ward, lock you up in a prison, and they'll indoctrinate you. And now once you come out, you'll come out reflecting like, if you ever come out, I did something wrong. Andrew Tate is a horrible man. I am so sorry for what I've done. I'll become an advocate for women and violence against girls and blah, 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 blah. This is exactly where it's going. That's exactly where it's going. That's exactly what they're pushing these men in. That's the direction that they're pushing them in. All right? Men and boys.
Prejudices, injustices, or resentments are not addressed by arresting people. They are addressed by the issues being aired, argued, and dealt with, preferably outside the legal process. For me, the best way to increase society's resistance to insulting or offensive speech is to allow a lot more of it. As with childhood diseases, you can better resist those germs to which you have been exposed. We need to build our immunity to taking offense. Our priority should be to deal with the message, not the messenger. If we want a robust society, we need more robust dialogue, and that must include the right to insult or to offend.
What a fucking legend. Holy shit. Well, I agree with everything he said. I had no idea he was that based, man. I had no idea. Autistic girl was arrested for saying a police officer looked like her lesbian nana. A guy put bacon outside of mosques was sentenced to 12 months in prison and ended up dying in prison. The Guardian is currently calling for bringing Elon Musk to prison. A girl was sentenced to prison.
Guys, a guy who put bacon outside of a mosque was sentenced to 12 months in prison and died in prison. Holy cow. Holy cow. How this is like what the hell? Like how the hell does a guy, let's type that in. A guy who put bacon outside of let's look at this. A prison died in prison. We're gonna look up that story because that sounds insane. His name is actually Kevin Crehan, and a man who plays bacon on the doors at a Bristol mosque has died in prison while serving a 12-month sentence. Holy cow. Holy cow. And they're basically trying to play it off. Holy cow. This was actually back in 2016. So this has been happening in the UK for a while now, for quite a while. Holy cow. Like, guys, there's not going to be, after what women have done in woke culture, holy cow, they're going to be blamed for all of it. The Sims have no recourse. The Sims have no recourse. Could you imagine the Sims saying, don't blame women for feminism. It's because of what you did as men, why they ever needed it in the first place. So you're to blame, man. You're to blame. Guys, it's gonna be wonderful. Imagine Sims are gonna be out here blaming men for feminism. Like, don't blame women for feminism. It's because you're the ones who made them need it in the first place. Guys, there will be no accountability. So, bacon on mosque offender passes away in prison. A man who plays bacon on the doors of a Bristol mosque has passed in prison while serving a 12-month sentence. Kevin Crehan was sentenced at a Bristol Crown Court in July for the aggravated public disorder. Rashers of bacon were placed on the door handles of the Jamia Mosque in Totterdown in January. A prison service spokesperson confirmed the 35-year-old's passing on Tuesday at HMP Bristol and said an independent investigation was underway. No other details were given. 3 other people also admitted taking part in the incident in January, where a member of staff who also was involved. Crehan, 34 of Noel, was jailed for 12 months, and Mark Bennett, 48 of Patchway, for 9 months. Alison Bennett, 46. So I guess she's related. Yeah, she was the wife of Mark Bennett, was given a 6-month sentence, suspended for 2 years. Yeah, so they suspended the sentence of the woman. Angelina Swale from Brislington was handed a 4-month sentence, suspended for 2 years. So the women, basically, there were 2 women involved in this, and they both received suspended sentences. So as long as they stay out of trouble for 2 years, they would never have to serve a day in prison. The prison service has declined to give any further details and circumstances of his passing. Holy cow. So that's crazy. If we try to Bacon death investigation. So we can basically investigation results. So we can basically look into what happened, if there was anything, what they ended up finding. And they actually, guys, here's where things get interesting. They actually call him an extremist. So that's insane. He's actually labeled as an extremist. It's really strict. This whole story is crazy. So there were some findings made. He does not look, after he went to prison, he clearly gained a lot of weight. So the results that we have here, it says that extremists who left Bacon, they're treating him like a terrorist, and Mosk has passed in prison after they're calling a drug overdose. How did he die of an overdose in prison? Kevin Bunny Crehan, 34, was jailed for putting bacon on the door handles of a mosque during a protest in Bristol. He and 3 other people shouted abuse at elderly worshippers and tied at St. George flags to railings. 2 days after Christmas 2016, he was found unresponsive in his cell, and since then, speculation about his passing has been rife among far-right groups. So this is the left, guys. They're just taking us out one by one. Last month, a protest called I won't read that, was held to raise awareness about Crehan's death. A post-mortem exam. So this was actually evidently members of the LGBT community were protesting, and they were very furious about his passing. So that's interesting. A post-mortem examination heard he died of a suspected overdose of methane, and a police investigation deemed it was not suspicious, so they swept it entirely under the rug. A full inquest will begin on December. So this is where things get interesting. They said a suspected overdose. So this is weird. A post-mortem examination heard he possibly passed of a suspected overdose of methadone, but they don't actually have the results. So they said they're suspecting that he passed from that, but they don't have confirmation. A full inquest will begin on December 3rd, but he passed away. And the article I'm reading to you is from May 24th, 2018. But this article is almost a year and a half after he passed, because he passed in 2016. This is a large cover-up. He was a convicted football hooligan who was jailed for a year after what he did. Protests organized by the English Defence League in the wake of his passing described him as a loyal patriot and family man, and blasted the outrageous sentence as men in mass waved Union flags outside Bristol Court. There's only going to come more with this whole new thing about locking up men for extremism in the UK. For listening to Andrew, and boys for listening to Andrew Tate content. Online commentators had claimed he may have taken his own. He may have self-control all deleted, and this might have been the result of bullying from other inmates. Also jailed with Crehan was Mark Bennett, 48, from Patchway, who was sentenced to 9 months. His wife, Alison Bennett, 46, was given a 6-month suspended sentence, and Angela Swales, 31, from Bristol, was given a 4-month suspended sentence. We talked about. So yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, they were given special treatment. If we look further into this is very strange. The investigation into his passing revealed that he passed from a suspected overdose, but there was a post-mortem exam, and they don't actually confirm. Guys, when you do a post-mortem exam, you take things like blood. You take a blood sample. So how can they say that he passed from a suspected overdose, but they don't actually confirm? I don't see anything that actually says that he had these things in his system. This is really weird. This is really, really weird. So then there's more. There's actually more. So it looks like this actually went before a jury. Looks like this actually went before a jury. And here's right. So updates. Verdict into the passing of Bristol man Kevin Crehan while in prison for tying bacon to a mosque. The 35-year-old passed in Horfield prison almost 2 years ago. An inquest has begun at Avon Coroner's Court into the passing of Kevin Crehan. Crehan passed at Horfield Prison on December 27, 2016. He was jailed in July 2016 after pleading guilty to public offender offenses during the protests at the Jamia Mosque. The inquest is scheduled to last up to 2 weeks and will be presided over by Avon Coroner Maria Vosin and be heard by a jury. The inquest will hear from key witnesses to the health of Kevin Crehan, both family and visitors, as well as staff at Bristol Prison and paramedics and doctors who treated him. So yeah, let's see here. So jury's verdict. The jury has found failures by prison staff and mental health authorities contributed to the passing of Crehan at Bristol Prison on December 16th. This is strange. Okay. So there was a jury verdict. There was a jury verdict after all of this. So here's where things get more interesting. If we jump over here, this one is we will sue prison over our son's passing. Family vows to take action against prison after inquest finds 5 failings led to the passing of the prisoner. So Agnol man passed in prison after a series of failings by mental health services, which contributed to his passing. An inquest jury has found there were 5 separate failings by mental health and the prison authorities on the balance of probabilities contributed to the passing of Kevin Crehan. Now his family said they will take legal action against HMB Bristol and that they are appalled that the prison authorities are failing to learn from their mistakes about the way they treat prisoners. An 8-day inquest at Avon Coroner's Court heard Crehan had a history of thoughts about self-control, all deletion, overdose attempts, and deteriorating mental health. The jury was told how he overdosed at HMB Bristol in Horfield on December 23rd, 2016. I was rushed to South Med Hospital. He was discharged from hospital on Boxing Day, but that night he overdosed on diazepam and morphine. So basically, he tried to control, alt, delete himself on December 23rd. He was rushed to the hospital on December 23rd. Then he was discharged from the hospital, brought back to prison where he tried again, and he was successful the second time. A postmortem toxicology report found he had a cocktail of 5 prescriptions of illicit drugs in his system, in his bloodstream, but it was the combination of morphine and diazepam that resulted in his passing. In a narrative verdict, a jury of 11 men and women found several failings of how Crehan's case was handled, but they did not contribute to his eventual passing. But there were 5 specific failings that meant that Crehan was returned to C Wing at Horfield on Boxing Day without adequate health screenings, without adequate communication from healthcare staff, the prison guards, and was able to move freely around the wing, obtain some illicit prescription drugs, and basically control, alt, delete himself that night. At the inquest of Bristol, this is, guys, and with men, they're going to be throwing boys in prison for just possibly being susceptible to misogyny and Andrew Tate and the Manosphere, or extreme misogyny. So yeah, guys, this is going to be something else. At Wildshire at the inquest, Bristol Community Health, Avon, and Wildshire Mental Health Partnership and the prison services were all represented by lawyers arguing the way the authorities dealt with the 35-year-old in the last days of his life did not contribute to his passing, but the jury found against them. The jury's narrative verdict explained there were failings or omissions of care. So they're basically saying they did nothing wrong. All right, that's what the prison is saying. The first was the failure when Rishan suffered the first time after trying to control, alt, delete in the prison on December 23rd. They hate they hate us. The state absolutely hates us. To open an urgent medical referral incident report on ACCT. This is prison shorthand for process called assessment, care, and custody and teamwork, which would have alerted medical staff, mental health staff, and prison authorities to Krehan's vulnerable state and mental health. Guys, they hate us. As men, they hate us. As men, they hate us, and they just want to suck as much money out of us before we're finished. All right. The second was a failure to find and process a note written by Krehan before the December 23rd event. He wrongly dated it 4/21, 4/12, but it's believed he wrote it on December 21st, which requested mental health help. So he actually asked for help, but they denied it. The third was, or they didn't respond to it. The third was the failure when Krehan was brought back to the prison from hospital on Boxing Day to provide a full health screening, which would have flagged his deteriorating mental health. Earlier, the jury heard that had a screening been done and it was spotted Krehan's mental health required an urgent referral, there was a member of mental health staff team on duty, even though it was Boxing Day and Krehan would have been seen. The fourth and fifth finding failure by the jury were around a failure of communication between all those involved in dealing with Krehan in the period following his first taking of those use of those drugs to control Alt-Delete. There was a failure to provide all the relevant physical and mental health information to the prison staff on the night shift, and there was inadequate communication and information sharing between the authorities and all the various agencies within the prison. The jury found that it was not possible to know whether Krehan intended to control Alt-Delete by taking the substances on Boxing Night. But keep in mind, guys, he attempted to do it the first time. So how the hell? And then he went and stole these illegal things and illicit things. So I mean, they're crazy. Krehan was nearing the end of his custodial part of a 1-year sentence he was given in the summer of 2016 and was just a few weeks from being released from prison on license. The 35-year-old had been jailed for the offense for an offense when he and a group of friends protested outside of a mosque and Krehan placed bacon on the mosque door, and the group shouted, at some elderly people leaving the mosque. The judge said he was jailing Krehan because the offense was the latest in a long list of previous convictions, mainly for football-related violence. A statement released by the family of Kevin Krehan spoke of how they were appalled at what had happened to him and the way he was treated by prison authorities. And guys, look at what they're going to be doing to boys now. They're going to be dragging them off for extremism if they're even suspected of being susceptible to these ideologies. Guys, that's 1984. Like you're basically done. We're basically done. We're cooked. This inquest has highlighted a number of failings at HBM Bristol relating to the management, care, and well-being of prisoners in their custody. The family stated, "We strongly believe that these systematic failings contributed to Kevin's passing. We are appalled that HBMP Bristol do not seem to be learning from their mistakes, and vulnerable prisoners continue to pass in their custody, as identified by HM and Inspectorate for Prisons in their report in March. The inquest has had earlier heard that Bristol Prison was awash with substances at the time of Krehan was first transferred there. On November 30th, 2016, because a member of staff inside the prison had been smuggling in these illegal substances and phones. We're appalled that HMP Bristol do not seem to be learning from their mistakes, and vulnerable prisoners continue to pass in their custody. Families. That's the family statement. So evidently, seems like they said they're going to be suing. They would be suing the prison for what has happened to their son. And if we actually try to look at any follow-ups, I did use AI to try to search around for it. AI is pretty amazing these days to see if there's any updates on the situation. But unfortunately, based on what I found, it basically just said that unfortunately there's really no updates. Kevin Krehan's family did file a lawsuit against the prison authorities alleging negligence in his care and treatment while he was incarcerated. However, the outcome of the lawsuit was not widely publicized, and there is no clear information about whether they won the case or reached a settlement. But if we ask, when did they file the lawsuit? I can try to give you that information. It says that Kevin Krehan's family filed a lawsuit against the prison authorities in 2018, alleging negligence in his care and treatment when he was incarcerated. So I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. This is what's happening in the UK, and now you can see it's like fast forward 6 years, almost 7 years. It's going to be 7 years since they filed a lawsuit, and 9 years since its passing, and nothing has changed. It's only gotten worse for men and boys in Western society, guys, because because you have to remember, this society does not like us. It absolutely hates us, and it just wants to destroy us. Anyway, guys, you can check out Asmongold's channel. It's linked in the description. Support his content. He's definitely dropping some bangers out here. This actually is going to probably end up being a 2-hour video. It looks like it's going to be a 2-hour video. What do you guys think about this longer format? If you made it all 2 hours, put 2-hour gang in the comments. Put 2-hour gang, 2-hour gang. All right, I want to come on. If you made it to the end of this 2-hour video, I think this is my second 2-hour video today. Put 2-hour gang in the comments so we can know that you can show that you survived, that you made it to 2 hours. And I cannot believe it. Cannot believe that some of you guys actually made it through 2 hours of this. And these are just my rants. These are just my rants, my thoughts, basically me expressing myself, finding my voice, finding his voice. It hurts my head, and it's going to make it harder to sleep. Probably need to have some tea or something to kind of chill the nerves out, because man, it hurts. It really does. It's really starting to hurt. It's like hard work. Gen Z doesn't know anything about this. Like, think about this very carefully. This is a 2-hour video, over 2 hours, and there's another 2-hour video. That's 4 hours, and then there's another. I know people are like, don't complain, but it hurts so much. And then what makes matters worse is like, I still have to drop another video for you guys. I got to put together another video on top of this 2-hour video. So there's a 2-hour video, another 2-hour video, and I think that there's a 1-hour video as well that's dropping today. Yeah, like, come on, my gosh. Yeah, like there's the one that's 1 hour and 19 minutes. The other one is 2 hours and 7 minutes. This one's already over 2 hours. This one's already over 2 hours. So it's like, holy cow. Like, there's so much work that goes into this crap. So much work, and I still have another video to drop for you guys, and I don't know how long that's going to be. Like, it's just like, that's my entire day right there. That is a full days of work, because after this, we have to do a little bit of editing, and we have to design the thumbnails, and we have to do all the putting the video together so that YouTube can actually put it up, and fingers crossed that there are no issues. And that's just my life. That is just 100% my life right now.
Gang rapist. Why do people in the UK put up with this? The American brain can't comprehend a society not accepting racist speech. You're right, we can't, because we think it's stupid. Because by banning people and putting people in jail for being racist, here's what's really crazy about that, is you don't stop people from being racist. That doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't make them less racist. It probably makes them actually more racist.
Yeah. I mean, guys, we're kind of at the end. Society, this is the direction that society has chosen to go in. This is the direction that women have chosen to go in. It's basically like, guys, we don't like you, men, we don't like you, so we're gonna punish you for simply existing. We're gonna take away your freedom of speech. We don't care. It's just how it's going to be. This is another thing, guys. Never fight. That's a saying that I've said. Do not fight for a society that hates you. Like, that's so damn important. That's so damn important, y'all. Like, do not fight for a society that hates you. We have a society that absolutely hates us, and wants to destroy us as individuals, as men. So don't fight for this thing. Do not fight for it. Do not support it. Definitely don't give it your money. All right. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing gamers stand up, and they're basically silently saying, yeah, these people, they can go and F themselves. And the crazy thing is that it's working. It's definitely working. And one of the nice things is Sony's going bankrupt.
Ford's massive flop hasn't phased Sony, which reportedly feels very positive about its next live service from Assassin's Creed veteran. What is Fair Games? Have I seen this? Okay.
You want to know about us? Seems like everyone does these days. It's simple. Too much money and too much power is held by just a few people. And it's
yeah, I can see why people are going to think this is like Concord. Yeah, I definitely
Worse.
can see that for sure.
So, we decided to do something about it.
I think a lot of people are kind of tired of the self-righteous people that are like, we're stealing from rich people because like we don't have money. Because like, how does this give you the right to steal something from somebody, right? Why is that? Why is that okay?
Let's go.
So what's the gameplay?
Designer socks too, I got the sweat too. It's the haiku. I'm something like you. My drink and drive too. Work 9 to 5s when I was in high school. These shoes here don't
Is this like a heist game?
This my pick. I'll crop you. Maybe to the game. Said my I do's got a window seat like Erica Badu.
Okay. I mean, literally no gameplay shown, right? Woke Payday. Looks like trash stylistically. Like, I find it to be very off-putting, the self-righteousness that people like this have, and I think that games that are made like this, and it's like called fair games, I hate that mentality. If you want to go steal from people, go ahead, but like, don't ever go tell me that you're Robin Hood.
Eat the Rich, and the game is the most corpo vision ever. The irony of a live service game based on eating the rich is levels of irony I can't comprehend. Eat the Rich creates a games as a service with seasonal battle pass and millions of microtransactions. Eat the Rich, gamers. Just ignore the fact that we showed our game in a mega corporation.
I never even thought of like all the irony with this, but like reading the comments, oh my god, this is so.
Concord just came out. You're next.
Guys, guys, I told you the gamers are not messing around. You know, they alienated white males. They said, white males, we don't like you, we don't want you. You're a problem in our games. You're a problem in game development. So they got rid of a lot of them. They've been basically, you know, diversity washing games for so long now, and it's backfiring, guys. It's backfiring, and it's backfiring hard. And I do not feel bad for these people one bit. And Sony says that they absolutely don't care about all the money they've lost for Concord. So they've lost tons of money on Bungie. They've lost a ton of money on Concord. And now they're going to drop this woke live service game that, guys, did I not tell you guys that they've been spending, that, you know, this is probably not the end of it, because they've been spending all of this money. They probably spent this was like a game that was in development for like 10 years. So they decided 10 years ago, 6 to 10, almost 10 years ago, that they were going to start putting out woke content. All right. This has been brewing for a long time. So this means that companies have been working on this for a long time to put out this woke garbage. So they probably have a ton of other woke garbage games in the pipeline. So they could just keep on putting these out, and they think they're going to strike fire at one of them. The only thing that's going to happen, it seems at this point, is like, as more of these games flop, that's just hundreds of millions of dollars lost. And Sony thinks that what they're going to do is they're just going to pass it on to gamers, and gamers have no choice but to buy the PlayStation 5 and to play their games, because ponies are just going to keep on playing up and are realizing they're getting screwed. But guys, we have so many options today with Steam. Steam is such an amazing thing. Like, I'm just buying all my games on Steam on a daily basis, and I'm having the best time of my life. Even though I'm not playing games, it's just kind of nice owning them, learning how to get deals, you know, adding the games that I want to my Steam wish list and just waiting for them to be on sale and try to get the best deals on them as possible. Yeah, I tell y'all, I am so damn tired. Because I had recorded a 2-hour video not too long ago, and then I started working on this one, and now this video is over 2 hours, and this is the longest non-stream I've ever done in terms of long-form video content. I think, well, on this channel. On the other channels I've run, maybe it's not the case. Maybe it's not the case. But on this channel, I think it's the longest. It's the longest one I've ever done. Longest one I've ever done for long form video content outside of streams. I've had like maybe 9 or 10 hour stream, but it's just, I'm just fatigued. I feel fatigued. But, you know, I just felt like I had a lot to say. It's like talking to a friend. It's like talking to a friend. It's like you just don't want it to end, you know. And what sucks, like I said, it sucks because like I can drop this video and then it makes $15. That's like assuming that everything is okay and I don't have like anything goes wrong. Like they're not like, oh yeah, there's some issues. Then I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. But what are you gonna do? What are you going to do? Just gotta leave it to God. I'm telling you, like these videos, these longer videos, they are definitely exhausting. They are definitely exhausting.
Okay.
You want to know about us? Seems like everyone does these days. It's simple. Too much money and too much power is held by just a few people.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was just watching it again. I mean, go woke. I mean, get woke, go broke. That's really it. Get woke, go broke. That's basically what's happening here. Like they're all going broke. They're all absolutely going broke, and that's a great thing. It's an it is 100% an incredible thing to see these scumbags go broke, to see them losing, see them losing lots of money, and knowing that this is going to disrupt their lives. It's great. It's absolutely great. It's great to see them. It's great to see them. It's great to see this happening. You know what's also interesting? So Sony is also censoring. Sony is also doing some massive censorship. And Ubisoft, guys, the gaming industry is going to hell right now. Gaming industry is going to hell right now because of all the woke garbage.
Ubisoft stock price dropped today? No, let me see. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, this is terrible. Tepid Star Wars Outlaws reception sinks Ubisoft stock. Star Wars Outlaws may have been reviewed okay enough. Yeah, this is the fucking problem. How is it that the games keep getting reviewed well, but nobody buys?
Star Wars Outlaw was another piece of woke garbage, and now it's literally tanked Ubisoft stock, guys. So diversity, equity, inclusion is destroying these companies, and Sony is saying they don't care that they've lost anywhere from 100 to 300 or 400 million dollars on Concord. This is wonderful, and they're about to put out basically Assassin's Creed meets woke. All right. Again, we don't even know how many other woke games they have in the pipeline. They're probably working on Spider-Man 3, and they had like the character models were ugly in that, in Spider-Man 2. So like, very, very woke. Peter was ugly. Everyone was ugly in the game. Mary Jane was horrible looking. And they're undoubtedly going to do this again. Because guys, you have to remember that all of these games woke is not going away. All of these games are being designed around this. They'll probably try to do it with the next God of War, because this is years in planning. So they can't just turn around and change these character models or rewrite the scripts that easily. The voice acting has to be done. All of this stuff, if they try to change these things around, it will take years. And again, Sony is stuck on woke right now. They're not going to backtrack. They're going to burn this. They're going to burn that company into the ground. And I'm going to say, like, right now, I want Sony PlayStation to completely go away. I want it to pass away. I want it to die. I want the company to die, because after what they've done to their loyal customers, to insert all that woke garbage in there, I'll go pick up a PlayStation 2. I'll play paper, rock, scissors. All right. I'll basically just focus. I don't even play games as often as I need to or want to anymore. I'll do mobile gaming if I have to. I hate mobile gaming, but I'll fucking play mobile games. All right. Or I'll get an emulator and just do that. But I absolutely want Sony to go down. I hope, guys, I think the PlayStation 6 is still going to come out. I hope that's the last PlayStation they ever make, and not because they go all digital or streaming, but just because they can't afford it anymore. I want the company to crash. I want the company to crash after what they've done. I will not support them. I'll try my best not to support them. Is that to say that I'll never purchase another Sony product or a PSP or something? If they come out with a new PSP and it can play old like PlayStation 4 games, I can't say that for sure. Is it written in stone that I'll never buy a PlayStation 5? It's possible. I may never, but I will never say never. But as a whole, I want the company to die. I want Sony to go downhill for what they've done. I hope Microsoft goes away as well. I hope the Xbox crashes and burns, and the next one is absolutely the last one, which it feels like it will be. Or hopefully they just say that, you know what, we're exiting the gaming, we're exiting the hardware division, and we're just going to focus on software. I would absolutely love Microsoft to take that direction and say they're canceling. The next Xbox has been canceled and they're exiting and they're just going to sell software, you know, and they can do that. Because I want there to be consequences. Like I said, I want the PlayStation to die. I do not forgive Sony for what they've done. I am that furious. I'm that angry for over all of it. I guess it's in the name, angry. And I want there to be consequences. So I'm fine with it. I love Steam. I hope Steam continues on, but knowing Microsoft, they'll try to buy Steam out, or one of these woke companies, maybe Sony, will try to buy them out. Although I don't even know if they have that kind of money, and it's not for sure that Steam would even sell. There's a lot of issues there. There's quite a few issues there. So we don't really know what's going to happen in that respect. We don't know what's going to happen in that respect. You know what, guys? I kind of feel like having a bit of egg salad. The problem with the egg salad is that, like, I'm trying to like cut carbs. So the problem with the egg salad is that, like, it's like the mayo in it. It can be kind of sweet, and it's sweeter than I really want it to be.
And so we have right here, Ubisoft shares are now down 13% in the wake of the launch of Star Wars Outlaws, which analysts say have failed to meet target sales. You want to know the real reason why this game isn't successful? The game, inside of the core DNA of the game, down to its chromosomal level, was a piece of fucking shit. You can't kill the livestock, but you can pet them? What the fuck is this? Star Wars Outlaws, but you could only steal from the police? Reviewers need to stop giving these games. You need to stop giving these games good reviews when they're bad. If Assassin's Creed Shadows crashes out, I actually think that there is a good chance that Ubisoft could be cooked. Like, if you actually look at the combat here, it's really bad. It is. It's yeah, maybe they're done. I mean, like, can you imagine if you bought this stock in 2021? This stock has gone down worse than most NFTs have. Like, if you had invested in a Bored Ape, you would have retained more value than investing in Ubisoft. That's crazy.
Wow. So basically the next Assassin's Creed next game, I think it's a live service game. You can look into that. It's called Assassin's Creed Infinity, and basically, I mean, is that a woman in it? Feminism. So I think it's like a female ninja. Assassin's Creed and the importance of a female. All right, so let's check this out. Assassin's Creed Infinity is the upcoming project from Ubisoft that aims to serve as a central hub for the entire Assassin's Creed franchise. While there isn't much specific information on its approach to feminism, the series has been gradually incorporating more diverse and inclusive elements. For instance, previous games like Assassin's Creed Syndicate introduced playable female characters and tackled various social issues. Ubisoft has been making efforts to include strong female protagonists and balanced gender representations in its games. This is pretty interesting. Very, very interesting. And, like, so, I mean, will Infinity, let's see, like, Assassin's Creed Infinity, will it star a female character? Let's check this out. Does it star a female character? Let's check that out. So we can look that up. Let's see here. All right. So the latter title, penned as being the darkest Assassin's Creed game ever, will have a lead female protagonist currently named Elsa for the first time since Assassin's Creed Chronicles China in 2015. Details on Assassin's Creed Infinity's live service hub. So yeah, so evidently the game will have a female character. This is interesting. The Assassin's Creed largely believed in equality, resulting in many female characters who have become legendary figures in Creed. Let's see. Assassin's Creed Syndicate was the first main Assassin's Creed game to star a woman as a female playable character, but she shared the role basically with a male. So they're basically ranting about that. The women, even though that women were in the game, they had to share. They were basically the lead character, but they shared the lead. They shared the lead role with a male, and the male should never have been in the game in the first place. It should have been centered entirely around the female character. So basically, they're basically trying to eliminate or erase men from games now, from these titles. And if you say anything about it, they'll call it misogyny. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Infinity will feature a lead character protagonist, and this marks the first time since the Assassin's Creed Chronicle. Will she be the only lead character in the game? Let's see here. Will she be the only lead character in the game, or will there be a male lead also? So that's another good question. Assassin's Creed Infinity will feature multiple protagonists, including both male and female leads. This approach allows players to experience different perspectives and storylines within the game. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be woke garbage, and Ubisoft's price is so bad, guys. Like we already know where Ubisoft is headed. You can see exactly where it's headed right now. It's going to tank. It's already tanked really bad. And then Microsoft, I don't know if Microsoft will be allowed to purchase them. And I just don't think that Sony has money. I don't think they have Ubisoft money. Like, what's Ubisoft market's cap? Let's see here. Like, that wasn't very good. But let's see here. We'll read that together. So when looking up the numbers for Ubisoft's market cap, I guess it's like a French company, isn't it? Its market capitalization is $1.75 billion. I don't know why I thought it was more than that. Not sure why I thought it was like Activision money. But, you know, I mean, they did their quarterly results for March were actually $732 million in terms of revenue, net income $96 million. That's actually kind of low, but they're saying that it's up. But their net income was only $96 million from it says March 2020 2024, but I don't think that's March, just for March. I don't think so. I think that's a quarter amount. Yeah, this looks pretty nasty. Okay, so it says that the market cap for Ubisoft is actually 4.63 billion, maybe. Let me see here. Let's jump over here. I think it's either 1.75 or it's around there. I think yeah. Let's see here. It's strange. It's a very strange. They've lost so much of their value. Ubisoft Entertainment SA. It says market cap 2.169 billion. Okay, and these were the earning dates: October 24, 2024 to October 28, 2024. So it's actually gone up a little bit. It's been jumping up. That's as of September 6th, 2024, evidently. So, but this cannot be, because it says earning dates for October 2024. Okay, so but that hasn't even happened yet. So I don't know if that's an S. These numbers don't look right. I'm looking at Yahoo Finance, and it's telling us the earning dates, and it's saying that it's 2.169 billion. Regardless, it's in that range, I guess. That's the value of the company. It's not 4 billion. It's like around 2 billion, between 1.75 billion and a little over 2 billion. But I'm thinking they're going to get gobbled up. I think that they'll keep on crashing and burning until another company buys them. Sony right now is saying that they have no games. Sony is basically saying that they can't compete. And I think where this is going, this is just me, just my speculation, is that Ubisoft shares new details on Prince of Persia, blah, blah, blah. Ubisoft shares fall to 10-year low after disappointing launch of Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, Ubisoft stocks tanked to 10-year low. This is from 2 days ago, after lukewarm lukewarm Star Wars Outlaw launch. So it's at this is at an all-time low. It's at an all-time low. Like, they've lost so much money. All right, the shares of the French video games developer Ubisoft reached a record low on Thursday at a price of around 15.50 euros per share. The value has plummeted by around 10%. As a result, the company market capitalization fell below 2 billion euros. So that was in dollars. So it's actually that 1.75 billion that I gave you is about accurate. In comparison, competitors Electronic Arts is in a much better position with a market value of 35 billion euros. Guys, they can be bought. Ubisoft has a lot of properties and they can be bought. Honestly, I would love for Nintendo to buy Ubisoft. I would love for Nintendo has a lot of free capital, but knowing Nintendo, like, they just won't do it. They're gonna say, "Nah, we're gonna focus on our own IPs. We're the house that Mario built, just like the house of Mickey. They're the house of Mario." So I just don't feel like they're going to do it. I would love for them to buy Ubisoft, but then at the same time, if they bought Ubisoft, then all of those games would basically be Nintendo, and it would be locked in Nintendo for a long time. So goodbye, a lot of great titles. But I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care about these companies that don't care about us. It would suck. Oh well, fuck it. We had a good run. We'll play the old games as much as we can if we could get access to them. The thing is, if Nintendo owns Ubisoft, they're gonna come after everyone for emulation. So like that's the end of trying to emulate those games. The drastic fall in the share price can be attributed to the disappointing sales of Star Wars Outlaws. So that was another woke piece of garbage that just came out. People did not like the game. People did not buy the game. It was It was all about diversity, equity, inclusion. The character models were ugly. Again, not attractive characters. It was absolute crap game, and the gameplay was crap as well. For example, you're not able to control all delete animals in the game, but you can pet them. And if you steal, and the game is called Outlaws, but you're not actually able to steal from just anyone in the game. You can only steal from the cops. So you can steal from police officers, you can steal from law enforcement, but you can't steal from ordinary people. Even though the game is called Outlaws. Like, it was hardcore woke. So yeah, so with the release on August 30th, it just came out. Despite passable ratings, Metascore of 76, the launch fell short of expectations. Yeah, 76, guys. They got a 76 on Metascore, so of course it was manipulated. The game is struggling with technical problems, and players are reporting bugs and unstable gameplay, which is unlikely to have a positive impact on sales figures. It's also a woke piece of garbage. Particularly noteworthy are the poor sales in the UK, where physical sales lagged 55% behind those of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, according to the Market Research Institute JFK. XDefiant, a free-to-play mobile shooter from Ubisoft, released on May 21st, is also showing a downward trend after initially strong player numbers. Since its release in May 2024, viewer numbers on platforms like Twitch have dropped dramatically, meaning gamers are not playing it from over 200,000 to just around 2,500. Holy crap. Negative reviews and technical issues have also contributed to the decline as well. With the pirate adventure Skull and Bones, which was released on February 13, Ubisoft was also unable to celebrate the desired success, which was apparently no surprise to the Reddit community. Ubisoft's next big hope is likely to be Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is due to be released in November of 2024. So that's the game we talked about. It's woke garbage. Ubisoft unveils unveils Assassin's Creed Shadows to Mixed Reactions. That's going to star a female character. Holy cow. Yesterday, Ubisoft released a world premiere trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows and announced the release date. However, the mood in the community is rather mixed, which has various reasons. Yeah, more woke garbage. Ubisoft released the official release trailer for the latest Assassin's Creed game yesterday at 5 p.m. and it confirms some of the speculations that have been circulating about the AC spinoff in feudal Japan. The grappling hook from Syndicate really does appear to be returning, and there will indeed be two playable main characters. The trailer shows only CGI and contains no actual gameplay. Nevertheless, fans can get a good impression of the Japanese setting of the game. According to insiders, the first gameplay should be available as early as next month. So that's basically coming. Two main characters: Assassin's Creed Shadows has a male and female main protagonist. Yasuke, who is based on a real historical figure, fights with heavy weapons and can take on several opponents at once. I think that's the black guy. And this was like Japanese were really pissed off over how they messed up the historical significance of this game. I think Naui, whose village was burned down at the beginning of the trailer, moves more in the shadows and attacks from ambush. In addition to the hidden blade, she also has new weapons such as throwing stars at her disposal. So that's the ninja. And mixed feelings in the community. With the release of the reveal trailer, Ubisoft received a lot of praise for the exciting combat scenes and return to the roots as absolute bullshit of stealth gameplay. On Reddit, however, many fans are annoyed that the trailer is not very innovative and does not show any gameplay. This is also a reason for some gamers not to pre-order the game yet. One Reddit user commented as follows: if Metacritic says 80 plus, then I'll buy it on December 23rd, 2024 on 50% discount. Holy cow. Holy cow. This could be a trailer for literally every samurai game released in the last 6 to 7 years, which is, of course, a reference to Ghost of Tsushima and Rise of the Ronin. Another point of criticism for many fans is Yasuke's skin color. Comments express concern about potential stereotyping and questioning the authenticity of the historical portrayal. Although Yasuke does not fit into the setting for many, it must be mentioned at this point that he actually existed and does not contradict the authenticity of Japan's setting. Yasuke was an African man who came to Japan in the 16th century and served there as a samurai. He probably originally came from Mozambique or another part of East Africa. So yeah, I mean, guys, it's a load of bull. It's a total load of BS, more woke garbage. And I don't think that like having a game necessarily centered around Yasuke is bad, but obviously the addition of the female character in there they're basically trying to push a narrative of diversity and inclusion all over again. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's not going to stop. It's a narrative that's just continuing to push throughout the world. Sony's made it very clear that they're going to continue doubling down on woke. They're not going to stop putting out woke games. They're just going to keep on losing money. As Ubisoft is tanking so badly that they may end up falling below $1 billion. And at that point, companies will say, well, yeah, I guess now is a good time to purchase it. And knowing Sony, they might just purchase Ubisoft. They might just buy out Ubisoft, which is not good for any of us. And their argument would basically be, well, Microsoft, they purchased Activision Blizzard, and we don't have any games. It seems like that's the direction they're going in as well. Because like the CEO or someone in the company recently said that we don't have any games, we don't have any franchises. Why would they publicly come out and say that? Okay? That's the same kind of crap that Microsoft was pulling when they wanted to play Activision, saying that they needed to purchase Activision Blizzard to compete with Sony. Literally going as far as essentially saying that they've lost this console generation of Sony. They cannot survive if they don't get Activision Blizzard. And it sounds like Sony's now using the same strategy, like, oh, the PlayStation 5 is we're in the latter stage of it, and we have no games, we have no IPs, they're full of crap. It sounds like what they're actually doing is they're gearing up to buy Ubisoft or another company or a series of companies, and they're basically this is how they're going to try to get by it's how they're going to try to get by company like the FCC or whatever Federal Trade Commission, basically, that might say, hey, you guys are monopolizing you're the largest console manufacturer. Microsoft is pretty much dead in the water right now, and you want us to allow another massive acquisition after you purchase Bungie. You want us to let you go and purchase Ubisoft and while Microsoft is allowing Well, Microsoft is basically putting a lot of these games on other consoles. Sony, I don't think they're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to keep those games exclusively for the PlayStation and then lock them behind the PlayStation ecosystem. It's a load of bullshit. It's a load of absolute bull crap that we're now witnessing in this industry. Total crap, guys. Total crap. You know what's crazy? You know what's really crazy? I should have ended recording this a couple of hours ago. I really should have. I should have stopped recording this a couple of hours ago, but not even a couple of hours. Like, I should have ended recording this like a little while, some time ago, and I still kept on going. I still kept on going. I don't think we're gonna make it to 3 hours on this. My head is hurting so much. It's hurting so much. I was thinking about putting out I still probably may do it. It's putting out the 4th video. Like, I'm gonna have to go and work on that, but I'm not gonna work on it immediately after this video. Like, I need to learn how to pace myself and take a chill pill. But we're like, this video is like probably gonna end up being at least 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So this is my longest long form video outside of my live streams. It's amazing that I can just literally just keep on going for hours and hours and hours, just talking by myself, just talking like Gen X used to sit in the cars of their mom's station wagon, looking back at the cars behind them, just waving at the people behind them, just waving. My father would have basically, slapped the hell out of me if I waved at people as passerbys. He was a monster. And there was worse parents out there. I know that my parents are horrible human beings, and I know absolutely that they are much, much worse than them. My parents are terrible. They are absolutely terrible. Boomers have no empathy, and I still know that there are much worse people in this world than these horrible souls that are known as my parents. All right? It's like I already know, like, it's like I try not to complain, even though it hurts sometimes, but I just have to kind of hold it in and keep going with it. Because I know there are many Gen Xers who had it so much worse than I did. And what am I supposed to do? Look for sympathy from people from like the rest of my abuse generation? It's like, that's why I say, like, don't call me a millennial. I'm not one of these people. I'm a zennial. Really wish, and eventually I'll probably make it official because they keep messing around with the years and there are different markets. I am not a millennial. I'm a Gen Xer. Leave me the hell alone. Don't even let me anywhere near to the millennials. I don't want to have anything to do with those whiny, weepy crybabies that are partly responsible for a lot of the crap that's happening, because a lot of them, they were the ones to go. Millennials were the first ones to go woke. All right. Don't get me wrong. Gen Xers, there's a lot of woke Gen Xers, but they were the first generation to really embrace that wokeness. All right. We blame Gen Z for a lot, and Gen Z deserves to be blamed for a lot. But the millennials were the first ones to really, really take it home and say, hey, yeah, we're gonna go woke with this thing. We're gonna really, really go woke with it. We're gonna embrace it. We're gonna make the best of it because it's awesome. Yeah, they were a bunch of bad muffins. Gen Z are bad muffins. Gen Z are bad muffins. The baby boomers are bad apples. What I don't know. I don't know what to aside to the millennials. Like, bad apples came naturally for the boomers. Bad muffins came naturally for Gen Z. What do you call what would I give to what would I assign to the millennials? I shouldn't just toss anything out. I thought of something. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna just toss it out. They're not like a fine wine. I wouldn't call them bad wine or bad cheese, or stale bread. Maybe I could even do something like stale bread if I want to. I don't have to like stick to the whole bad thing, bad apples, bad muffins. I could even go with something like stale bread. I probably won't though. I'll have to think about it. I don't have to rush it. I'll just let it come to me. Let it come to me, just like Frozen. Let it go, let it go. Just like Frozen, let it go, let it go. I'll just have to let this come to me. And by the way, guys, don't forget to join the Angry Guy Clubhouse. That's our space. There's a link to inscription in the video. We've got podcasts. We've got extended videos. We've got guides. We've got a chat for you guys. Did feminism fail women and the unexpected backlash and blame game? They're blaming women are quietly turning on one another as men walk away. We have a blueprint for escaping the rat race. The dark agents were orchestrated. How to, the solid rage of Gen X forged in the fires of reality. The Gen Xers that are still around are the ones who survive. Men going their own way has robbed women of their future. Millions of boomers are ending up homeless, as they should. how to build a thriving business empire. That's just some of the stuff, videos and articles that you can go and check out. And guys, also don't forget that on the Clubhouse, you're going to get a free. When you sign up, you also will get a free get our free digital nomad blueprint, and it's completely free to sign up to Clubhouse. All right, it's completely free to sign up. So go sign up, enjoy the content over there. It's our Substack. This is our space. And when you sign up, we all basically, you never really have to worry about losing contact with me unless, I suddenly disappear. But, I'm able to reach you guys. I can email you directly. You can check out the site directly. You can chat with me directly. We have a built-in chat. You can also talk to one another through the chat. It's pretty nice. It's really, really engaging. So go check that out. Have some fun with that. Chill over there. Live your best life. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Gamers, massive boycott against feminism has won. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Men walking away. And cheers.